A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all old-time radio.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Dragnet is brought to you by Chesterfield, made by Liggett & Myers, first major tobacco company to give you a complete line of quality cigarettes.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to burglary detail. In the past 2 months, a thief has broken into 18 markets. There's no lead to his whereabouts, no clue to his identity. Your job? Get him. Friends, stage and screen star Paul Douglas is featured on the Chesterfield Poster of the Month that's up all over town. Here's what Paul Douglas says about Chesterfields. Quote, "I've been smoking Chesterfield for 22 years. They're best for me. If you try them, you'll find they're best for you." Unquote. You know why Chesterfields are best for you? Because they're low in nicotine, highest in quality. And, of course, Chesterfields are really mild, really satisfying. Try them yourself today. Smoke America's most popular two-way cigarette, Chesterfield. Regular and king size. Best for you.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Monday, December 14th. It was cold in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of burglary detail. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Captain Bernard. My name's Friday. We were on our way out of the office, and it was 8:05 a.m. when we got to Georgia Street Juvenile Bureau. Sergeant Lindsay Simmons' office.
Yeah? Well, did you give it to him? Uh-huh. Yeah. What'd he say? Yeah. When did he come back? Uh-huh. Well, did he have it for you? Yeah. Well, that'll teach you not to go that route anymore. All right, Patrick, tell the sergeant to call me when he gets back. Right. Oh, hi, Friday Smith.
Oh, hi, Lindsay.
Good morning, Sergeant.
Just talking to Gene Patrick over at Highland Park. You know him?
Yeah, I met him a couple of times.
Picked up a youngster a couple of days ago on suspicion of burglary. Brought him into the office, and Patrick talked to him.
Yeah.
Well, he finally bought it that the kid didn't have anything to do with it. That's he told him to go home.
Uh-huh.
Kid told Gene he didn't have the money to get home, so Gene gave him 20 cents. Kid swore he'd come in and pay it back.
Did he?
Yeah, he came in this morning, gave Patrick 2 dimes. Told him thanks for believing the story.
Mm-hmm.
Then Patrick got the kicker. Kid really did break into a house last night to get the money.
Well, what's Patrick got to say about that?
Says the kid's honest in a sort of way. He did pay him back.
Well, where's the youngster now?
Got him over Highland Park Juvenile.
I better call Gene. Maybe I can give him a hand. I got a couple of streetcar tokens I won't be using. Might like to have them. Huh?
Oh, hold it. If I was you, I don't think I'd bring it up to him for a couple of days. Well, what can I do for you two?
Well, Lindsay, we've been working on a string of burglaries. You maybe got the word on them.
I don't think so. What's the story?
Bunch of store burglaries. Papers that tagged them the milk bottle jobs.
Oh, yeah. Seems Hartgrove was telling me something about them the other day. Where do we come in?
Well, the way the jobs look, we've been thinking that maybe they belong in your department instead of ours.
How you figure that?
First off, the milk thing.
What do you mean?
Every job he's pulled, we found an empty milk bottle on the counter.
Okay, what's that prove?
Well, milk and kids go together.
Sure, so do milk and ulcers. Maybe a thief's got the bull horrors when he gets in at the store.
No, Lindsay, there's another thing. The way he prowls the places. All he takes is petty cash. Just a couple of bucks outside. Candy, cigarettes, nothing big. Some of the places he's gone into, you could open the safe with a pocket knife, and he hasn't even made a move toward him.
Maybe he's a kleptomaniac. Got a lot of them on the books. Maybe that's the way he gets his kicks.
Oh, it's a nice try, Lindsay. If you know anybody that can climb through a 14 by 10-inch hole, you trot him up and we'll talk to him.
Okay, I haven't got the names on my desk, but you take a trip to Santa Anita, you'll meet a lot of them. Jockeys. You guys know we'll go along with you on this thing, anything we can do, but until we're sure that there's a juvenile involved, there's nothing we can do. Anything turns up, we'll be sure to turn it over to you.
Now, look, we're not trying to palm this thing off on you, Lindsay. We've had the stats office make so many runs on small adults that the cards are wearing out. It just seems that none of the leads we've been chasing come out anywhere. We figured that maybe you could come up with some answers for us.
Well, it's a new one on me, Joe, this milk bet. I've heard of a couple of thieves that went for it, but I can't name you a juvenile offhand. I'll pass the word around the day watch, see what they can come up with. I'll leave a note for Hartgrove. He can pass it on the night watch.
Well, appreciate anything you can do.
No trouble. Been running you ragged on this, huh?
It's pretty rough. It's just that we can't seem to be able to come up with anything that adds.
Yeah. Oh, excuse me.
Yeah.
Georgia Street Juvenile, Sergeant Simmons. Yeah. Yeah, they're here. Which one? Okay, hang on. For you, Joe, your office.
Thank you. Friday calling. Yeah. Right away. What's the address? Yeah. No, I got it. We'll leave right away. Who? Yeah, call him. Thanks. Well, come on, let's go. The milk bottle kid, he hit again. The call had come from Lieutenant Ginder in burglary. He told us that he'd just gotten a call from a storekeeper named Monty Darabertis. The man had called to report a burglary at his store at the corner of Jackson and Broadway Streets. Lieutenant Ginder told us that the crime lab had been notified and had dispatched a crew to investigate the premises for physical evidence. Frank and I left Georgia Street Juvenile, and we drove over to Figueroa. Then we turned over onto Broadway. The store that had been broken into was a small Italian delicatessen on the southeast corner. By the time we got there, the crime lab crew had already arrived and was winding up their investigation. We walked into the place, and we met with Ray Pinker.
Hi, Joe. Frank.
Ray?
Hi, Ray.
How's it going?
Usual thing. Bottle of milk on the counter. You want to check it over?
Yeah.
Come on back here. The thief made his entrance back here at the rear of the store. There it is. Broke out the window pane.
Yeah, not very big, huh?
It measures 9.5 by 12 3/4.
No alarm on the window, huh?
Yeah, you can see the wires here. Take a look.
Oh, yeah. How come the alarm didn't go off?
I talked to the owner. He said he's had trouble with the alarm system the last couple of weeks. Called the company and asked them to fix it.
Mm-hmm.
He thought it was okay. Guess there's something wrong someplace. Didn't work last night.
What kind of alarm was it, Ray?
Outside on the building. You know the kind.
Yeah.
What did he take this time, Ray?
Usual run of stuff. According to the owner, there are about 4 cartons of cigarettes missing, several boxes of candy. Can't be absolutely sure. So he's got to check his stock. Be better if you talk to him on that.
Yeah, we will. We'll catch him later.
Want to wait a minute? I'll check and see how the boys are doing on the prints. Have them check the counter and the milk bottle.
Fine, thanks, Ray.
Be right back.
Right.
I don't wonder when we're going to blow the whistle on this guy.
I don't know. Can't do it fast enough for me.
Well, I'm with you.
Hey, Joe. Look at this. Yeah, I'd like to get a couple of those before we leave.
What are you talking about?
Salami, Joe. Those right there, the hard Italian kind. See, right there?
Yeah.
I remember last summer I was up in San Francisco.
Yeah, I remember.
Went up there to pick up a prisoner. Remember you were collecting days off?
Yeah, I recall. I had 100 of them coming.
Yeah, pretty funny. Anyway, I met Dan Shelley up there.
You mean the Irish tenor?
Yeah, he and I went down to Cookie's bar for lunch. Cookie had some of this salami. Sliced it like paper. You could almost read through it.
Oh, that's the way it's supposed to be.
I know, Joe. Anyway, Cookie sliced up a bunch of it, served it with cold cracked crab. Boy, I never tasted anything so good in my life.
Yeah, don't you ever read the newspaper through sliced salami?
Yeah? Well, I never have. Have you?
All the time.
Just the funnies. Well, anyway, Faye's tried to find them for me. Salami like this. Brought home all kind of things, but she's never found the right kind. You know, they'd be hard enough to pound tacks with them. She got them home. Boy, never forget old Cookie and that spread.
Well, if you can get your mind off food for a minute, and I know that'll be tough, let's get on with this thing, Joe.
Yeah. Sure got to buy some of these before we leave. Just like Cookie had.
Yeah.
Just finished with powder, Joe.
Yeah.
Nothing. Whoever it was drank the milk. He took the bottle out of the refrigeration compartment. Bottle sweated, and there isn't a print on it we can lift.
That's too bad. None of them any place, huh?
Yeah, we've gone over the place from top to bottom. Till there, we can't find them.
Well, that's not much help, is it?
Came up with one thing. Maybe you can make something out of it.
What's that?
Outside the window in the back parking lot. Came up with an open package of cigarettes. Don't know if it belonged to the thief.
Anything on it?
No. Fog last night ruined any prints that were on it. Boys have got it if you want it.
Yeah. Well, we'll take a look at it. Looks like everything's against us, huh? Another blank.
Don't envy you guys trying to break this one. Most of the time there's a leak someplace. Somewhere along the line the guy's going to make a mistake and not cover something.
Yeah, we've been saying that for weeks.
This is either the smartest thief I've ever seen or the luckiest. What's this make for him?
Number 19.
A lot of chances to take for nothing. He's not getting anything out of the jobs.
Maybe he isn't, but we are.
What?
Headaches. 9:38 a.m. We talked to the victim. He told us that as near as he could figure, there was approximately $4 stolen from the store. He went on to say that he'd ascertained that 5 cartons of cigarettes and several boxes of candy bars were taken. He was unable to tell us if any other merchandise was taken until he'd made a complete inventory. He went on to tell us that there was over $600 in the safe, but that as far as he could tell, there'd been no attempt to break into it. We made a canvass of the neighborhood and talked with the neighbors. None of them recalled having seen any suspicious people in the neighborhood the night before. None of them had seen any suspicious automobiles in the area. The one thing that was apparent was that the thief was working in a definite pattern. He worked only on Friday and Saturday nights, always between 8 p.m. and 12 midnight. Frank and I met with Captain Bernard, and it was decided that we would maintain a rolling stakeout in the area in which the suspect operated. 4 other cars from Metro Reserves were assigned to work with us. For the next 5 nights, we worked without results. It was slow and tedious, but considering the lack of information on the thief, it was the only way we had left. We had to be on or near the scene when the thief struck again. Saturday night, December 19th, Frank and I met and drove out to the area. The streets were crowded with early Christmas shoppers.
I'll sure be glad when it's over.
Why? What's the matter?
How many rooms in your apartment, Joe?
3. You know that. You've been there.
Yeah. No, there won't be enough room.
What are you talking about?
Faye?
What's Faye got to do with this?
Hack, Joe. Real hack.
Why? What's the matter?
I got up this morning. I felt great. Faye's got breakfast on the table. All nice. A couple of eggs, little pig sausages. Nice, you know.
Yeah.
I come down to the table. She's got the food on, and I hit her with it.
What, the food?
No, Joe. I hit her with what I'm about to tell her. I tell her I'm going to have to work tonight.
Mm-hmm. You've worked every night this week. What's wrong with that?
Well, that's the way I figure it, so I got a way out.
You have, huh?
Today is Faye's birthday.
Well, you didn't tell me.
It's not good to tell people, Joe.
Oh, it isn't?
No. Faye's over 30.
Yeah. I kind of figured that.
Don't you get it?
I'm sorry, pal. You left me a couple of blocks back on this one.
Look, Faye...
I may never catch up.
Faye's over 30, Joe. She's getting to the point where she's taken off years, see? How can you give a person a last birthday present?
Yeah.
I tell you about it. You're going to give her a present. Only now instead of 30, she's 29. You understand?
Well, to be perfectly honest with you, no. But as long as you do, it's perfectly all right with me.
Yeah.
What about this morning?
Well, I told her I was going to have to go to work. I got this present for her. Brand new deep fat fryer. Real good.
What?
All wrapped up. Deep fat fryer. All wrapped up with ribbon. Beautiful. Shiny. Beautiful.
So you gave it to her. Did it do any good?
Not a pound. You know what she does with it?
Well, at this point, I wouldn't even want to guess.
I'm serious, Joe. This may mean the end of my home.
Go ahead.
She doesn't even open it. Just puts it in the closet on the back porch. Doesn't even pull the paper apart to peek at what's in it. Real mad, Joe. She may not let me back in the house tonight.
Well, you can apologize when you get home.
I don't know, Joe. Faye's pretty sore. Didn't even open the present. Not
Wait a
even
minute.
a peek, huh?
Listen.
Yeah. Tell where it's coming from?
Yeah, sounds like up on 7th. Come on. Yeah, right here. Pull up. Come on.
I'll take the front.
All right. Hey, hold it up there. Police officer, stop or I'll shoot. Frank, he's coming around your way.
Okay.
Take it easy.
Go ahead and shoot. Go on and kill me. Go ahead and shoot me. It doesn't matter anymore. Go
Everything
on.
all right?
Yeah. Just a kid, Joe.
Yeah, I see.
What are you doing in the store, son?
What do you think I'm doing?
He asked you a question, son.
Pretty stupid. What do you think I was doing?
How many stores you broken into, son?
Figure it out for yourself.
Look, what do you got a chip on your shoulder
You're
for?
big guys. Don't give me a lot of conversation. Do what you want to do.
All right, boy, you called it. Come on. 11:50 p.m. We called the office and told them that we had a subject in custody and that we were taking him to Georgia Street Juvenile Bureau. We put the boy in our car and we waited until a radio car arrived. We asked the officers to notify the owner of the store and stand by until he got there. We also asked that they make a 459 report. 11:55 p.m. We started to take the youngster to the Juvenile Bureau. What's your name, son?
What difference does it make?
Acting like that isn't going to help you.
You guys picked me up, remember? You worry about it. I got nothing to be afraid of.
Oh, yes, you have, boy. You could have been shot back there.
Maybe you should have pulled the trigger.
Look, son, what's the matter with you? Why are you acting like this? You just got real lucky back there. That's the only reason you're alive now. It was dark in there. As far as I could tell, you were an adult. You didn't stop when I told you to. Now, according to the book, I could have shot you. You know that, don't you?
Killing the kid. That'll make you a big man.
No, I'm just bringing it up to prove a point.
Save it.
Now, look, son. I'm going to tell you something. When you break into a place at night, you're not a kid anymore. You're asking for trouble. You got both your pockets full of it. The way you work tonight makes us think you're mixed up in a lot more thefts than just tonight.
That right?
You ever been arrested before?
No.
Never been in trouble with the law, huh?
Sure. I'm a real criminal. I got a ticket once for riding my bike through a boulevard stop. Radio car stopped me and tagged me. Big deal. But they're going to send me to San Quentin. Maybe you can give me the gas chamber.
How old are you?
What difference does that make?
How old are you?
You figure.
All right, you look like you're about 11 to me.
That's what everybody thinks. I'll be 15 my next birthday.
Don't kid us, son.
It's the truth, 15. That's what I'll be, 15.
When were you born?
1939, November 2nd.
You're small for your age, aren't you?
Why do you say that?
Aren't you?
It's got nothing to do with it, nothing at all. I can do anything any other kid can do. Anything. Don't you forget that.
What's the matter with you? Is that a sore point with you?
Huh?
Your size, is that a sore point?
There's nothing wrong with my size. Doctor says that I'm all right. Just that some people aren't meant to be as big as others, that's all. There's nothing wrong with me.
No, come on, son. What's your name? Now, look, you know we're going to find out.
How are you going to find out?
We will. Now, why don't you save us all a lot of time and tell us the truth here?
Be better if you did.
If I do tell you. You going to put it in the papers?
What?
I tell you, there are going to be a lot of reporters around. My name going to get in the papers?
Not from us.
Can't tell you then.
You mean if there's no reporters around, you aren't going to tell us your name? Is that it?
That's the way it is.
It's kind of funny, isn't it?
Maybe that's the way it looks to you.
Where do you live?
Can't tell you that either.
But you got things all wrong, son. It isn't what you want to tell us. That's got nothing to do with this. You're going to tell us what we want to know sooner or later.
Where are we going?
Georgia Street.
That's where the jail is.
Why do you ask that?
Because I want to know.
Yeah, there's a jail there.
Reporters?
What?
They're going to be reporters there.
What is this thing with reporters and you? What's this all about?
Reporters put your name in the papers, don't they?
Sometimes.
Well, you get the reporters all lined up. You get them from all the papers. You have them there, and I'll tell you all about it, the whole story. You just get the reporters and the photographers. Be sure about them, because I want some pictures, too.
Well, look, let me get this straight.
What?
You say you aren't going to give us any information without the press being there. Is that right?
That's the way it's going to be.
Well, you got it wrong, boy.
What?
Doesn't make any difference who's there. You're going to come around.
Yeah.
We'll find out.
You are listening to Dragnet, the authentic story of your police force in action.
Smokers by the thousands are now changing to Chesterfield because they're learning the facts about Chesterfield. Facts like these.
A doctor has been examining Chesterfield smokers for 20 months, almost 2 full years now. We've just received his latest report, and it confirms again no adverse effects to the nose, throat, and sinuses from smoking Chesterfield.
That's a matter of record. And so is this. Chesterfield is the only cigarette proved highest in quality, low in nicotine. Those are the facts about Chesterfield. More good reasons why Chesterfields taste so good, smoke so much milder. How about it, friends? Smoke America's most popular two-way cigarette, Chesterfield. Regular and king size. Best for you.
Twelve 10 a.m. We got to Georgia Street Juvenile Bureau. Frank pulled the car into the side alley, and we took the subject out of the back seat.
Up this way, son.
It's a seedy-looking place.
Yeah, well, it's been here a long time.
Looks like a set out of a picture.
And don't you worry about it, huh? You want to take him down the hall, Frank? I'll check with Hargrove.
Yeah, come on, boy.
Hi, Friday. Working kind of late, aren't you?
Yeah, we are.
I got the note from Simmons on the milk burglaries. Checked around the Nightwatch. Nothing on it, so I didn't call you.
I don't think you have to worry about it. I think we got the answer.
Yeah?
We just picked up a kid. We got him dead to rights in the market. Open bottle of milk right next to the cash register.
Where is he now?
Frank's got him down the hall.
You think he's your boy?
Yeah, looks like it. Everything adds up. The entrance, what he tried to take, the milk. All along seems to fit.
You got that kind of a case, what are you worrying about?
Just two things.
Yeah?
Who he is and why he did it.
He won't tell you?
No. He's got some big thing working about the press. Says he won't give us anything without reporters being there.
Makes it rough, Joe. You know the policy.
Yeah, I do. He won't let us help him.
If he wants publicity, take me down. Introduce me as a reporter.
Well, it might do it.
Won't do any harm to try. Let's go.
Go ahead.
Thanks. Who am I going to be?
Well, tell him you're Sid Hughes from the Mirror, huh?
Yeah, might as well be one of the good ones.
Son, you wanted to talk to somebody from the papers. It's against the policy, but we swung it for you. This is Sid Hughes from the Mirror.
Hi.
You the fellow that held that guy on the phone in Baltimore?
Yeah.
Great. I read all about it. You gonna write me up like that?
I hope not, son. There were 2 men killed in that operation.
I read all the stories. Everybody did. That's how I mean for you to write me up, with a picture.
What makes you think you got it coming? You break into one store and try to steal a couple of cartons of cigarettes, that doesn't make the first page.
One store? I got into 19 of them. 19 before they caught me. That's important, isn't it? That's a story.
I don't know, might be.
A couple of things we better get straightened out here. First off, what's your name?
Better get your notebook out. Be able to take all this down.
Don't worry about it, son. You just answer the questions. I'll get it.
Yeah. Okay. My name's Elroy Graham. That's ELROYGRAHAM.
Yeah.
How old are you?
I told you once, almost 15.
You said you'd broken into 19 stores. Is that right?
Yeah, 19. Might have made it more, but something went wrong tonight. Had trouble with the burglar alarm. Thought I'd turned it off. Bad mistake. Be still working if it wasn't for that. Guess it only takes one, though, huh, Mr. Hughes?
Yeah, I guess so.
You want to tell us why you did it?
What?
You had to have a reason for committing these robberies. You want to tell us what it was?
Sure. Good reason. Real good.
All right, tell us.
Well, you see, I always had trouble at school. Never seemed to quite make it. All the guys liked me. They all did. All the girls do, too. Got girls calling me almost every night asking me to take them to dances, stuff like that. I don't go much for stuff like that. You can understand, can't you, Mr. Hughes?
Go ahead, Elroy.
Well, they wanted me for all the teams, football, basketball. All the time asking me to play. But I figure if you want to get ahead in the world, you got to have an aim. Someplace where you want to get. Figure out that. Work for it and you're going to get there. Don't you find that true, Mr. Hughes?
Go ahead.
That's the way it was with me. All the time turned down offers to be on some team. Telling some girl that I couldn't take her to a dance. Just didn't have the time. Somehow I just couldn't make it. You can understand it. You've been around. You know all the successful kind of people. You write something and a lot of people read it. You know what I mean. Don't you? Well, what's the matter? Something wrong? I'm trying to tell you what happened. I'm giving it to you straight. What's the matter?
Now you want to tell us the truth, Elroy.
What?
I don't know why you're trying to sell us this line, boy. It isn't necessary. I don't know why you did what you did, but I do know you had a reason for it. Now, that's all we want to know, just the reason.
You don't believe me?
Afraid not.
How about you?
No, son, I don't.
Mr. Hughes?
No.
Can't even lie right. Can't even tell a lie good. All my life I've been trying to be like other kids. All the time getting beat up, getting left out of things. You know why? Do you know?
Go ahead, son.
Big reason. Biggest reason in the world. Because I'm almost 15 years old. I'm 4 feet 7 inches tall. 4 feet 7. Weight 97 pounds. That ain't very big, not big enough. All the time, other kids shoving you around. All the time you're the joke. Gets to the time when you figure it's easy to laugh, too. Because if you don't, some kid's going to beat you up. Get to the point where you don't care anymore. I used to clip out those coupons and send them in. Get the books back on how to build myself up. Worked at it. Didn't do nothing for me. I was still 4 feet 7 and weighed 97 pounds. All the stuff I took didn't do no good. Still came out 4 feet 7, 97 pounds.
All right, son. Do you want to tell us about the burglaries?
I did it to be big, that's why. I had the things other people wanted, cigarettes, candy, the other things kids wanted. I had all that stuff that the other kids wanted. Made me important. Don't you see that? You gotta understand it, Mr. Hughes. That's why I wanted my picture in the paper. That's why I wanted the story. So the kids would know that I'd done something big. So they know.
All right, son. It's going to be all right here.
No, it isn't. Like everything else I tried to do, I loused it up. I didn't mean to steal, but it was the only thing to do. The only way I had.
Now, wasn't there some other?
No. No, there wasn't. All the time the other kids laughing. All the time talking. I just couldn't stand it anymore. I just couldn't.
Here you go.
Thanks. You can understand it, can't you? It makes sense.
What's that, son?
Wasn't so much the kids saying I was little.
Yeah.
But I didn't want them to think I was small.
"12:36 a.m. We contacted the parents of the Graham boy and asked them to come down to the station. We talked to them for an hour and tried to fill them in. In view of the fact that the parents of the subject were responsible persons, The boy was booked for violation of Section 459 PC, delinquent, and he was released to his parents pending his hearing in juvenile court. 5 days passed, and we heard nothing from the boy. On December 24th, Frank and I checked into the office.
Friday?
Yeah, Earl.
Kid in the back wants to see you and Smith.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, Mr. Friday.
Oh, hello, Elroy. What can we do for you?
Well, I guess you think it's kind of funny.
What's that?
I want to tell you that I sure think it's good what you did for me. Helped me with that burglary thing the other night.
Well, it isn't over yet, son. The court still has to make a decision on it.
Yeah. But what you did to make me feel better. As far as I'm concerned, whatever the judge decides, I'll go along with it. I had a long talk with my folks. So we got it all talked out. All the way talked out.
Well, that's good, son.
We're glad of it, son.
Maybe you guys won't like it. I mean, me knowing you such a short time and all. But I wanted to bring you these. Merry Christmas.
Oh, that's awful nice of you, Elroy, but it isn't necessary.
I want to give them to you anyway. For what you did for me.
Well, that's mighty nice of you, Elroy. Sure appreciate it.
A couple of packages of cigarettes. Hope they're the kind you smoke.
Yeah, son, they'll be fine.
Thanks, son.
Well, see you guys around, huh?
Yeah, sure, son.
Just one more thing, Sergeant.
Yeah, son?
Just thought you'd like to know.
Yeah, what's that?
I didn't steal those.
The story you have just heard is true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On the 21st of December, a petition was filed in juvenile court on behalf of the subject. On January 26th, trial was held in Department 52 of Juvenile Court, State of California, in and for the County of Los Angeles. In a moment, the results of that trial.
Now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you, George Fenneman. Friends, Thanksgiving is traditionally a time when families and friends get together. And I'd like to make this suggestion. Tomorrow, get a couple of cartons of Chesterfields. You'll be all set for Thanksgiving and the weekend. We know you, your family, and guests are sure to enjoy America's most popular two-way cigarette. Chesterfield, regular and king size. Best for you.
Elroy Merton Graham appeared before the juvenile court where he admitted the alleged burglaries. At this time, under the counsel of the judge of the juvenile court, the subject was placed under the care of the probation department for a period of 3 years, with the provision that his parents take him to a competent psychiatrist.
Ladies and gentlemen, don't forget your letter carrier when he makes a special trip to call on you for muscular dystrophy. Reach in your pocket. Give for muscular dystrophy.
You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department. Technical advisors, Captain Jack Donahoe, Sergeant Marty Wynn, Sergeant Vance Brasher. Heard tonight were Ben Alexander, Jack Crucian, Olin Soule, Sammy Ogg. Script by John Robinson. Music by Walter Schumann. Hal Gibney speaking.
Watch an entirely new Dragnet case history each week on your local NBC television station. Please check your newspaper for the day and time. Chesterfield has brought you Dragnet, transcribed from Los Angeles.
Have you tried new cork tip Fatima? It's the smooth smoke with Fatima tips of perfect cork. King size for longer filtering. And Fatima quality for a much better flavor and aroma. Fatima is made and guaranteed by Liggett & Myers Tobacco Company. Try Fatima today.
Hear Merrill Muller and the news next on the NBC Radio Network.
My name's Jeff Regan. I get 10 a day in expenses from a detective bureau run by a guy named Anthony J. Lyon. They call me the Lion's Eye.
With Jack Webb as Jeff Regan, Investigator, stand by for hard-boiled action and mystery and thrilling adventure in tonight's story of The Lady with No Name.
The next time you're out for a drive, pick up Olive Street along about the 700 block. You can't miss it. It's a big building made out of white granite. The Cosmopolitan Building. The man who built it is doing a long run up at San Quentin for graft. Anthony J. Lyon, the guy I work for, rents an office in that building. International Detective Bureau, Suite 308. A couple of rooms with a connecting wastebasket. The Lion has the only desk in the office and a typewriter that Remington dropped from their catalog back in 1915. Well, I walked in last Tuesday at 10 a.m. The office was full of taboo. She was a tall girl, very pretty, wearing slacks and a coat that must have set the mink population back 20 years. But she still looked cold, like she'd never get warm again. The Lion had one arm around her shoulders. He knew by this time that coat was the real article. There wasn't any music, but he didn't seem to mind.
Come in.
Not much room to dance.
We got trouble.
She's your date.
This is one of my operators, Mr. Regan.
How do you do, Mr. Regan?
Now, tell him exactly what you just told me.
Yes, all right. May I sit down? I feel strange.
Of course. Oh, there.
Thank you.
Get this, Regan.
I don't know where I live. I don't know my name.
Yeah?
I want you to find out who I am.
You heard that, Regan?
Heard what?
The verbal contract. You just hired him.
Oh, you're out of your mind.
And you're a witness in case anything comes up.
Please, I don't feel well. I'm perfectly willing to pay you. You'll just find out who I am.
Well, look, lady, there's a cop on every corner.
I couldn't go to the place.
You got here.
Quit pushing her. This is our case.
I was afraid. I found this in my purse.
Mm-hmm. 32 caliber Smith & Wesson. Been fired. There's 3 gone.
What are you doing with that, miss?
I don't know.
Just been used by you?
I don't know.
Well, where'd you get it?
I just found it in my purse.
Remind you of anything?
No.
You take it.
Now, look, miss, I know you don't feel well, but there are certain questions you'll have to answer.
I just want you to find out who I am. It's terrible this way. It's...
Ain't it?
Yeah, you always had a way with women.
Help me bring her around so she can sign that contract.
She hasn't got a name, remember?
We'll give her a name. Jane Doe's good enough.
I guess so.
What do you mean?
She's dead. The Lion just stood there. He looked sad, like a water buffalo caught in a drought. Well, when she rolled onto the floor, her purse went with her. It cracked open, and the stuff inside spilled out on the rug. There wasn't anything to tell us who she was. No comb, no makeup. Nothing but a house key and a receipt for a cab ride dated that day. There wasn't even a label in that mink coat. Nothing to go on. I might as well have tried to walk to Catalina. I told the Lion to phone the coroner's office, and I hopped over to the cab company. They told me that the receipt came from meter 212, driven by a man named Servey. He worked the call box at Hollywood and Western. He was a little guy. I figured he got the job because they ran out of big uniforms. They double-crossed him on that cap. If it wasn't for his ears, he'd have been wearing a snood.
Sorry, Bud. I got a fare.
Where is he, under the floorboards?
I got a fare.
Yeah, you said that. Where?
In there eating.
Your flag's up.
I'll pull it down. Happy?
You Johnny Servey?
Whose nose are you?
They told me I'd find Servey in this hack.
Who told you that?
Cab company.
They don't know any more than you do.
Now, look, never mind the jokes. Just give me that straight lines.
Nix, will you? Got out this company uniform.
Well, we're going to get it back if you don't open up.
Get it out.
All right.
Louise pulled out 3 weeks ago. She took all the furniture with her. You can collect from her.
I'm not the finance company.
No?
Here.
Oh, private paper, huh? Well, who's getting caught?
Did you carry a brunette in a mink coat sometime this morning?
Maybe.
Where'd you drop her?
Downtown, 6th and Grand.
Where'd she live?
Ask her. I'm cruising in from the fair.
Where'd you pick her up?
In Burbank, Hollywood Way, and Kensington.
The fair's in Pomona. You took the long way.
I like to drive. It's company gas.
Yeah.
She was nice, real nice. You know what I mean? Real class.
Okay.
Oh, wait a minute, will you?
Yeah?
We didn't go anywhere, but time's up. It's 5 even.
Fast meter.
Hey, you want me to tell you about the guy?
What guy?
Tall, dark head, brown sport coat, movie type.
Go on.
He was chasing her when she caught my cab. He looked like a mash.
Was it?
Ask him.
Is that all?
She got in, we drove away.
Right here.
Thanks. No tip?
Like you said, we didn't go anywhere. Ever have somebody drop a key in your lap and say, go find a door? Well, I drove out to Burbank and I began looking around for a good lock near Hollywood Way in Kensington. I figured that key I'd found in Jane Doe's purse would have to fit something. I made my letter on the 10th house. There was a for sale sign on it. I didn't see anybody around, so I unlocked the door and I went in. Outside of something that smelled like tar and kerosene, the place was empty. I was just about to turn around and leave when a brown sport coat slid into the room, movie type. When he walked over to me, I knew he drank the right kind of scotch.
Gonna use your GI loan?
I was just looking.
Gotta buy it. It's a steal.
No, the lady won't like it.
Your wife?
Girl in a mink coat.
You make that kind of dough?
She got it from somebody else.
You Hollywood guys. Where'd you get the key?
I borrowed it. She won't need it.
What's your name?
I didn't have a chance to ask her.
Oh, you're kind of slow, aren't you?
Sometimes.
We'll see how fast you can hit the door.
No, I just got here.
Yeah, now you're leaving.
Cab driver says he knows you.
I'm friendly. I talk to everybody.
Said you were doing a chase scene.
Could be. She was pretty.
They all look good in mink.
It's not the house. What do you want?
Well, we could start with a name.
It's Dameron.
Not enough.
That's all you get, wise punk. Now beat it.
You'll give more at homicide.
I don't see any bad.
Now, look, we can play games some other time. A cab driver put the finger on you as the last man to see that girl in mink.
You talk like she's dead.
You called it.
Too bad. There's a lot of fur coats in L.A. and a lot of guys chasing them. You got nothing.
That's what they always say downtown, but you'll talk.
I don't figure on leaving, but you're going on your way right now.
Better open a window, Dameron. You're sweating.
Keep talking, sunshine, and we'll make one in that far wall.
You got help in the back room?
Quit scratching around. It doesn't mean anything to you.
It didn't before she pulled a fade in my office, but it does now.
I'll buy you a new carpet. I don't know who let you out, but it's bedtime. You've been talking about a dead girl who doesn't even know her name. Now go back and finish your dream.
You got all the questions. Now let's fill in the answers.
I'm fresh out of box tops. There's the door user.
No, not yet. I'm going to get what I came for.
Little man, that's a promise.
You're out of condition, Dameron.
You're in a great position to throw that line.
Oh, you got talent, mister, but it's still raw. Come here. Now, come on, get up. I'm not through.
That's where you're wrong.
It's a big Luger.
Makes the same size hole. All right, punk, you got a name?
A lot of them for you.
Oh! School isn't out yet. Just answer.
It's Regan.
Okay, Regan, let this sink in. Forget you ever saw any dame in a mink coat. Forget you ever saw me.
That won't be hard.
Look, Junior, you just lost the round. Now remember what I told you. Have a memory lapse. Is that clear?
You made your point.
Now blow.
You always use a Luger?
For close work.
Well, then that 32 doesn't fit.
What 32?
The one that the girl was carrying.
You got it?
No, I gave it a homicide.
Good. It saves me a trip downtown.
You're not worried?
No, I'm very happy.
Huh?
Today's my birthday. That's the reason you're walking out of here.
The whole thing looked as phony as an undertaker in a white derby. Well, I went back to the office, and the lion was sitting there with a bottle of beer and a sandwich that looked like a couple of end tables. He stopped chewing when I came in.
What's her name?
It's still Jane Doe.
You've been gone 4 hours. Movie?
They don't open till noon.
All right, where you been?
A vacant house in Burbank. I trailed it up from that cab receipt.
What'd you find?
Guy named Dameron.
What'd he say?
Nothing.
Shy?
Tough.
That where you got the egg on your chin?
He was nervous.
When you gonna learn to be nice to people?
He had a gun, too.
Tell me more.
That's all.
I like this. It's got possibility.
All right, take off your saddle. The race is over.
When the coroner's boys showed up, they told me why she dropped.
That's easy. She died.
Poison.
Was that an autopsy?
Something about her color. It isn't official, but we can work on it.
Suicide?
Murder.
Why murder?
They feed themselves iodine and sleeping pills, but they don't take Alizine.
What's that?
A hot drug with a petrol base. It burns.
Homicide will handle it.
Sure, homicide will handle it. Only we got things to do. We got a stake in this.
You made her the client.
We're going to give her service, dead or alive.
What does Wendetti say?
I don't pay Wendetti. We find out who she is.
All right, you try.
Her picture shows up in the paper. She dropped dead in our office. How's it make us look?
They sent in the first string when she died.
You clear this up before homicide does.
They'll lift your license.
We won't need it.
What do you mean?
I still got Exhibit A.
What?
Smith & Wesson, 32 caliber.
You're withholding evidence?
I forgot to give it to them.
All right, now give them a call and tell them.
That was 5 hours ago. You make the call.
All right, I'll tell homicide. They'll give me a break.
That's what Dillinger thought.
Give me the gun.
They've got Jane Doe's prints on the wire. They'll have the answer in 10 hours. Cut that in half, Regan, and we've won the championship.
You'll have to give the cup back. You cheated. When I left the Lion, he looked happy, like a guy who had just figured the mystery melody. I had the gun with 3 bullets gone that Jane Doe had been carrying in her purse, the Lion in back of me, the police department in front. That left me about as much chance as a blue peanut on a wedding cake. I knew that if I walked into homicide with that .32, they'd hold on to me like a season pass. I had to find out who it was registered to, so I gambled and I went down to the city hall. I went in the Temple Street entrance, room 11, personnel division. If I pegged it right, I could get the dope on that gun without getting involved. I figured wrong.
Can I help you?
You in charge here?
Lunchtime, yeah.
Whose name matches these numbers?
Small arms?
Yeah.
What authority?
I just bought it.
Want to know if it's clean?
Yeah.
Caliber and make?
It's a .32, Smith & Wesson.
Okay. Smith & Wesson, 32. Yeah, right here. Got the weapon with you?
No, why?
No rule. No gun, no vitals.
I got it. Here.
Okay. Purchased August 1929, factory reblue job 1931, owned by American Trust and Loan, permitted to Dale W. Curtis.
Thanks.
I'll have to ask you to wait.
Why?
No rule. Got to run them all through ballistics.
Anything special?
Maybe. Found a guy floating around Silver Lake this morning, full of 32s.
Who?
Working on it. Have to ask you to wait.
No, I can't. I haven't had lunch yet.
Stick around. We may invite you.
I don't like your food.
Oh, don't worry. You can have anything you want the last day.
You're listening to the story of the lady with no name. Tonight's adventure with Jeff Regan, Investigator. If you are a graduate registered nurse, please listen carefully to this important message. 29,000 nurses are needed to join the new Army Nurse Corps Officers Reserve. If you're a registered graduate nurse between the ages of 21 and 45, drop a card for complete information to the Adjutant General, Washington, D.C. And now, back to the story of the lady with no name and Jeff Regan, Investigator.
Well, there it was. The clerk took Jane Doe's gun and closed the door marked ballistic. I figured he couldn't be too sure about whether that .32 would match up, but I didn't want to wait around to find out. He left the vitals card on the counter. I spun it around and I got the address of Dale W. Curtis. It turned out to be a one-story frame that stood in the way of the new freeway they're building. The movers were just jacking it up and I caught the last carload of people leaving. They told me that Curtis hadn't lived there for 7 years. They did give a number over on Manzanita off Fountain, where I might be able to find him. It was an apartment on the second floor. From the looks of the place, it figured that the OPA had a fight on their hands. I rang the bell and waited. I don't know whether it was a lighting effect in that dim hallway, but when she opened that door, I expected to see those 1,000 ships slide down the ways again. She was wearing some kind of a filmy thing that made a spider's web look like burlap. She had a voice that stole over you like a pint of Irish ale.
I didn't expect you until tonight.
I broke my watch.
Come on in. I'll see if I can fix it. I'm grateful for the swift movement.
Yeah, it shows.
My name's Marlo Curtis.
I want to see your husband.
He's not here.
Do you expect him?
No.
Where is he?
Up north.
Business trip?
Yeah. He sold out.
Oh, what kind of business?
Ask the warden.
Huh?
The Curtis is in the prison cemetery. Been there 5 years.
Sorry.
Don't be. He deserves it.
You're going to drown in those tears.
I'm still wearing black.
The right color, wrong occasion.
Soda?
What?
Just drink. How do you want?
Well, you're mixing.
Hey. Now, isn't that better?
I don't know. This is my first drink.
You'll get another. The weather's changed.
There's nothing here.
Get quick. Must have a good straight man.
Yeah, you.
You get top billing. What's your name?
Regan?
Detective?
Maybe.
Arrest. Sergeant?
I'm due for a promotion.
You'd make a better lieutenant. Come here. If I had anything to do with you, be captain.
Yeah, sure, until you snag your colonel.
You're nasty, too.
Did I pay for my drink?
Get out.
Tell me about this nail file.
You got that out of my purse.
I had one hand free.
You two-bit shadow artist. Now get out. Hello? Yes, he's here.
Yeah?
This you, Regan? You don't know me.
I've been lucky so far.
They should never have taken that gun down to the city hall.
You get around.
You shouldn't be up there in Marlowe's apartment.
You gonna run my life?
Now, I told you what you shouldn't do. Here's what you're gonna do.
Look, Buster, don't prod me.
You're gonna forget all about today.
The girl forgot a lot of things today, and she dropped dead.
Got the idea?
Suppose I don't buy it.
You want a partner for that gun?
Cameron give you the nickel?
He gave me a dime. I got one more call to make to the city hall.
All right. Suppose I lay off.
And I got something for my piggyback.
You're no petty girl. Hang it up and get out. You know, Regan, I could have really liked you.
Yeah, Marlo, that's why I'm scared. Well, you can see how things were. I felt like a short girl with a new look. No matter how I tried to break it down, I figured to cop the leading role. A Jane Doe walks in her office and drops dead. She has a gun that probably talked to a couple of people. A cab ride receipt takes me to Bill Dameron, a guy with a talkative gun. I end up in Marlo Curtis' apartment for a lot of punctuation marks. Everybody talks but the people. Well, I knew I'd have to begin to move before homicide tagged me, so I hopped down to the Times and I checked the morgue file. I pulled the clips on Dale W. Curtis. Marlo didn't lie. He was dead. The old papers didn't mean anything, but the banner headline on the night final put one piece of the jigsaw in position. It told about a Treasury Department agent named Shields. They found him in Silver Lake. He'd been shot 3 times with a .32. Now I knew where Marlo's nail file fit. I started to leave when I caught the last paragraph. It said, "Unidentified man turns in the murder weapon. Police are seeking his whereabouts." Yeah.
This is Lane. I've been calling your place for 2 hours.
I just got home.
Gonna give yourself up?
It was your idea.
Who's Jane Doe?
I don't know.
Why?
You got a badge, you try.
Look, Regan, you're hot. Every prowl car in town's looking for you.
Yeah.
You better start filling this in or they're gonna get you.
Now listen, big shot, you're in this too.
Not from where I sit. I gave you the gun.
Well, send me some dough over here.
I don't have enough for your pay.
I need some money for cab fare.
No petty cash in the office.
Don't lie to me. What about that money you got out of Jane Doe's purse?
What do you mean?
She could have never got up there without cab money.
Well, she must have lost it in the elevator.
Look, I haven't got time to play games. Now send it over.
How much do you need?
$10 won't break you.
Where you going to, Yuma?
I'll expect it in an hour. Goodbye.
Hello?
Hello, Dameron.
Always like your door.
I wouldn't stop you. You'd crawl under.
Come on in, fellas. It's drafty out there in the hall.
You got a parade permit?
Rodney, say hello to Regan.
I already did on the phone. What about Slim?
Hiya, Grogan.
His name's Regan, isn't it, Big Mouth? Oh! I was sitting right next to Rodney when he made that call to you. It was perfectly clear to me. Wasn't it clear to you, Big Mouth? Oh! Rodney told you to lay out, but you just had to get onto that newspaper, didn't you, Big Mouth? Yep. Rodney, Slim. Slim on the bed.
All right, let go.
Now, Regan, once more, they got a gun downtown. They got a dame and her prints are going to fit it. They got a stiff and that gun's going to fit him, okay? And I'll lay you off.
You said that before.
Rodney, Slim, hold his hands. Now, Regan, I know you understand me. I said all the right words. Maybe my punctuation's bad. Lay off. Period. Lay off. Period. All right, leave him on the bed.
He's on the floor.
That's fine. Now he won't have to change his bedding.
Dameron was good. When I got up, my face looked like a relief map of Death Valley. He was wearing a signet ring. He left out all the water holes, but the mountain ranges were rising fast. I figured I was safe now. That guy in the personnel office had never recognized me. Well, I was standing in the kitchen giving myself the cold water treatment when somebody knocked. I figured that was a switch, so I opened the door. It was that hacky, Johnny Servey. He had an envelope in his hand. Yeah?
Hi. Remember me?
You give up cab work?
Oh, I found this under your door. Here.
Thanks.
Football?
What do you want?
Well, you asked me about a dame in a mink coat today. Now, I'm asking you.
I don't run a meter.
Well, I figure all this might help.
All of what?
Well, I get to thinking about it, see, and then I think some more.
All right, come on, get to the point, will you?
You played a hand, now I'm playing a hand.
Go on.
Well, dames mean trouble, and mink coats, they mean double trouble.
Yeah?
Is it worth $5 if I remember another guy?
Maybe.
Well, he's all over the papers now. I seen him.
Who?
Shields, the guy they fished out of Silver Lake.
Where?
He was out in Burbank this morning, early.
I thought you were at Pomona.
I was, but... Well, I guess I wasn't exactly cruising. I got a friend lives out that way. Know what I mean?
When was this?
An hour before I pick her up. This guy they find in Silver Lake is walking around that house. I'm looking for a store for breakfast.
All right, you eat.
Well, that's it. After breakfast, I hop in my cab, and that's when I pick up the dame at Mink.
Why'd you bring me all this?
Well, I figure we got somewhere this time. How do I get my tip?
I gave him his $5 and he left. Then I opened the envelope he'd handed me. It was the money that I'd asked the Lion to send over. 2 $5 bills. Well, I looked at it, put it back in the envelope, stuck it in my pocket. So far, all I could see that I got out of this thing was a good beating from Dameron. The question still stood, who was Jane Doe? Well, I knew my next move. I wanted to hop over to the Treasury Department and see if my 2 matched their 2, and maybe between us we could come up with 4. I didn't have much to go on. It was just a hunch. I took Marlowe's nail file with me, and I walked in the front door of the Federal Building. I showed my license to the chief agent.
That's right, one of our agents, Shields. They have the murder weapon down at Homicide.
I know.
All we want is the man that pulled the trigger.
Well, I got an idea.
I'll listen.
What's wrong with these $5 bills?
You can't spend them.
I figured that.
Where'd you get them?
How bad are they?
Lousy paper, rotten ink, terrible engraving job. You could do better with a rubber stamp outfit. Where'd you get them?
Any of these been floated?
We picked up a few.
Was Shields working on it?
That's as much as I can give you. Now, where'd you get them?
Well, a girl faded out in our office this morning.
She was carrying them?
Yeah.
What's her name?
That's what I got to find out.
Oh, Jane Doe, huh?
Well, that's what we called her.
So does the paper. Same girl?
Yeah, that's her. Any identification?
Not yet. They've been running a picture for hours.
Well, I'm short on time.
You're the guy.
Wait a minute before you hit that button.
Yeah?
Your addition's good, but you haven't got all the figures.
Don't make book on that. You're the number 1 boy with me.
You think I'd solo in here?
You might.
No, I got an ace.
All right, so you keep your nails clean.
Now, look at it.
It's a nail file.
They cut dum-dums out of Shields.
Who told you?
A second-story apartment with a deep floor.
How did you know?
You're holding the file that cut the grooves.
You use it?
I can give you the guy who did.
Dum-dum makes a big hole.
Half shield.
Through the tip of a 32 slug, it'll split and mid of Kansas what it is.
You can do it with a nail file.
Maybe. Where's that apartment?
No, I'm too close to quit now.
I can't let you go alone.
I got a big car.
Now, before we go, mister, if no one belongs to that file, you belong to the gun.
that case, I'll have a lot of time to do my nails. Well, it was a long shot, but that's all I had. The agent just sat there on the way over. He didn't say a word. Well, I figured he didn't believe me, but it was a short drive to find out. We hit Manzanita Street just after the dinner time rush. It was quiet, and everybody was eating or they'd gone out for the evening. We climbed the stairs to Marlowe Curtis' apartment. I told the agent I wanted to go in alone. He didn't like the idea, but I explained to him that I expected friends and somebody should cover me from the outside. Oh, she looked even prettier than I remembered her. One tear was just about ready to take that last plunge across her cheek.
What do you want?
I brought you a paper.
I've seen it.
You know the girl?
Yes.
What's her name?
Too late.
For you, maybe. I gotta know.
You wouldn't understand.
Try me.
You're still looking for things.
No, not this trip.
You didn't think I could cry, did you?
No.
I learned.
Weeping over a nail file?
I said you wouldn't understand.
It split a slug in a treasury agent.
I don't know.
Well, I do, sis. You filed the groove.
Shows you how many times you can be wrong in one day, Regan.
Kind of cramped behind that screen, Dameron?
Small apartment.
Yeah.
Always wanted to get the girls a bigger one, but Marlowe's getting tried.
You're wrong, Dameron. Not anymore.
You've been around Regan too long, Marlowe. Now you got a mouth just like his. Big.
I just figured out what he's been trying to do.
You putting brains on the market, too?
Jane Doe he's been looking for was Evelyn.
His sister could have been a rich woman.
Not with the kind of money you printed.
You're playing this scene for.
I didn't count on murder.
Evelyn forgot things.
You killed her.
It was no good. She couldn't tell the 5s from the 10s.
I'm going to identify her.
You know where that leaves me?
Sure I do. And I'm going now.
You'll have to walk through this Luger.
Is that the same gun you used on the Treasury agent?
You and Regan hardly got acquainted, didn't he tell you? Your sister did that for me.
You're lying.
That's Regan.
Nail file.
That's right. Dum-dums. Evelyn wanted to be sure.
Rotten. Now get out of my way.
Marlowe, don't try it.
I'm going out that door.
Not standing up.
It was a real photo finish. Just as Dameron pulled the trigger, the agent kicked the door open and threw a couple of fast ones into him. I'd call it a dead heat, but you'd have to give the agent the edge. His first slug cut Dameron down like a blade of grass. I figured the second was for shield. Marlowe wasn't in a hurry anymore.
Regan.
I'll call the doctor.
Don't bother. I thought too big now.
You're hurt, baby.
No. I got bigger. I almost made it.
Was a good try.
How's Dameron?
He's all used up.
Good. Regan. You think I'm as bad as him?
No, baby. You just played on the wrong team. He was...
Let's go.
Yeah. From here on, it's a monologue. Well, it was hard to figure. It was like trying to throw a saddle on a porpoise. I gave what I had to homicide, and it unbuttoned something like this. The girl who pulled a quick exit in the office, Jane Doe, was Marlowe's sister, Evelyn. She was frontman for Dameron's bad money. She helped him pass it. The Treasury agent, Shields, got a little too close, so Evelyn pumped a couple of dum-dums into him. She did it for Dameron, and then he slipped her the poison. He figured the stuff would work faster, but she lived long enough to take that taxi ride to the office. Well, it didn't begin to make sense until I got down to personnel. I didn't think to check it before, but when I handed the clerk that gun, I noticed the tip of the slugs were grooved. Then over at Marlowe's, I picked up that nail file. It was full of lead filings. From there on, it was a fast reel. Dameron filled in the rest in the fight with Marlowe. Yeah, well, too bad about Marlowe. We might have had something. That's what I don't like about this business. You can't build friendships.
Jack Webb is featured as Jeff Regan with Herb Butterfield as Anthony J. Lyon. It's CBS at the same time next week for more hard-boiled action and mystery with Jeff Regan, Investigator. Written by E. Jack Newman, produced by Sterling Tracy. The role of Bill Dameron was played by Charles McGraw. Yvonne Patey was Marlowe Curtis. Marvin Miller was the Treasury agent. David Ellis, Stacey Harris, Lou Krugman, and Bernice Barrett supported. Original music for this program is by Dick Arant. Bob Stevenson speaking. Jeff Regan, Investigator, is heard every Saturday over CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Dragnet is brought to you by Chesterfield, made by Liggett & Myers. First major tobacco company to give you a complete line of quality cigarettes.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to robbery detail. A gang of truck hijackers has been working in your city. They've stolen 14 loaded trucks. They've kidnapped and beaten one of the drivers. There's no clue to their identity. Your job? Get them. With the winter season coming on, young America and all of us will be concentrating on our favorite winter sports: ice skating, bowling, basketball, skiing. One thing you'll notice: whatever young America does, wherever it goes, Chesterfield goes along. Yes, Chesterfield is the choice of young America. Chesterfield is the choice of more thousands of smokers everywhere. People are learning the facts about Chesterfield, learning that Chesterfield is highest in quality, low in nicotine, learning that Chesterfield is really mild, really satisfying. How about it, friends? Change to Chesterfield yourself. Smoke America's most popular two-way cigarette. Regular and king-size Chesterfield. Best for you.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Wednesday, June 4th. It was warm in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of robbery detail. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Chief of Detectives Thad Brown. My name's Friday. We were on the way out from the office, and it was 9:47 a.m. when we got to the county hospital. Ward 419.
Hi.
Mr. Gilmore?
Yeah. I know you guys?
No, sir. We're police officers. This is my partner, Frank Smith. My name's Friday.
I do, sir.
Hello. A couple of stools over there. Drag them up. Sit down.
I'll get him. Here you go.
Thanks. How do you feel, Mr. Gilmore?
Rough. Real rough. Feel like I've ridden 50 miles in the back of a ready-mixed cement truck. Weren't for the pills they'd be giving me, I think I'd go off my rocker.
Mm-hmm. You want to tell us what happened?
Yeah, as much as I can remember. Only goes so far, then there's a room full of black.
If you'll tell us what you can, please.
Yeah. Yesterday, that's when it was.
Yes, sir.
Yesterday morning. I checked in for work. Had a load I was going to take over to Phoenix. Supposed to shove off about 10:15.
Did you know what you were carrying?
Yeah. I saw the waybill. Some of the stuff they were loading it. Used furniture. Didn't make any difference to me. They load the truck and I'll drive it.
Uh-huh.
I went across the street. Little coffee place over there. Got my vacuum bottle filled and came back. By that time, they had the truck loaded. I signed the waybill in the office and went out and got into the truck. The two guys were waiting for me.
They were in the cab of the truck, then?
Yeah, sitting there, kind of scrunched down so you couldn't even see them from the outside.
Yes, sir.
As soon as I opened the door, one of them had a gun pointed at me. Told me to get into the truck like there was nothing wrong. Just start the motor and get the truck away from me.
Did they get out of the truck at that time?
No, they were waiting for me when I got there. They told me to drive away, and I did. Wasn't going to mess around with them having a gun.
Yeah, go ahead.
And we drove about 3 blocks, and he told me to pull into an alley just off of Santa Fe.
Santa Fe and what, do you remember?
By Porter Street, between Porter and Enterprise.
I see. Like to go ahead?
Then they told me to pull into the alley, and when I did, they made me get out of the truck. Took me around back and broke the seal and told me to get inside.
And that's what you did?
Officer, if they'd have told me to jump off the city hall, I'd have gone ahead and done it with that gun pointed at me. I'm a coward. Fellow waves a gun around, and I'm going to do just like he tells me.
Yes, sir.
Those guys are mean, you could tell.
How's that?
Oh, I'm a kind of a student of phrenology. I could tell about those fellows real plain.
Student of what?
Phrenology. You know, bumps on the head.
Oh.
They all mean something. Of course, I didn't get a chance to make a good examination of these guys, but I could see it. Real criminal heads. Bumps told me so. One fellow had a head that was one of the worst I've ever seen.
Yes, sir.
He was mean to his mother, I could tell. Had a bump right here. Here, you see?
Huh. Yeah.
He was mean to his mother.
Yes, sir. Well, what happened after they tied you up?
Just left me there.
I see. You want to go on?
Yeah. They must have drove for about 20 minutes when they stopped, pulled in some sort of a driveway.
How you figure that?
Well, right after they stopped, they made a half U-turn, then backed up this ramp, steep. Then they stopped and took me out of the truck, blindfolded me, and made me get out of the truck.
Now, this place where they stopped, that's where they unloaded the furniture, did they?
Yeah. They must have taken it out of there. I heard them thumping around the truck. Sounded like they were unloading it.
Well, now, what'd they do after they got all the furniture out?
Put me back in, drove off to where you found the truck. After they both climbed into the back, beat me up. Don't remember much after that.
Mm-hmm. Both of them worked you over, huh?
Yeah. Both of them got in their licks. Especially the one who was mean to his mother. He was vicious. He was mean. They kept hitting me with their fists until I just passed out. Don't remember anything after that till I came to in the back of the truck. That's when I called the cops and the guys in uniform came out. I guess they're the ones who called you.
Yes, sir.
Now, is there any way that you might be able to tell us where they took you?
You mean when they unloaded the furniture?
Yes, sir.
Well, I think maybe I got an idea. I tried to figure out how fast they was driving. And after you've been a driver for a while, you get to know. I'd say they were going about 20 miles an hour. We were still in town. My own guess is that they went out Alameda. Must have gone out Santa Fe and then turned on to Alameda.
Mm-hmm.
I remember hearing kids yelling. That'd probably be Santa Fe High School.
Yeah.
I guess we went out Alameda to maybe 43rd or 44th, and they turned right. Kind of hard to figure it then. The truck got tied up in traffic. It was hard to tell if they were stopping for that or they're just at a light. You know?
Uh-huh.
But I'd say that they went out to about Avalon. You know? Maybe they went up to San Pedro. I don't think so. I'd say Avalon. Then they turned left and headed for Hawthorne. I'm not sure how far they went, but I'd figure maybe around Rosecrans, and then they turned a couple more times, and they stopped and drove up that steep ramp.
Mm-hmm. Now, you figure they ended up around Rosecrans and Avalon.
Yeah. Guess that's not much help, though, huh?
Well, it gives us an idea where to start looking.
Well, a couple other things that might help you.
What's that?
Well, it seems that when we started to back up the ramp, I heard a bump, like they backed into a car. They didn't hit it hard, but I bet they did hit a car.
Yeah.
After that, they pulled the truck forward and stopped and backed up again. This time they scraped into the side of a house. I could feel it run along the side of the truck. It sounded like they might have torn up some of the wood on the house.
Yeah.
Will that help any?
Yeah, sir. We'll have our crime lab check the truck and see if they can come up with anything.
Sure hope you can. Oh, you talked to my boss yet?
No, sir, but he's been notified, we understand.
I bet he's plenty sore about it.
Well, we wouldn't know about that, but he should understand that it wasn't your fault.
He should, but he won't. I know.
That right?
Yeah. He doesn't understand anything that doesn't go on his way. Spotted a mile off.
What's that, sir?
His head. All kinds of bumps.
10:06 a.m. We continued to question the victim, Russell Gilmore. He gave us descriptions of the two men who'd kidnapped him. He also told us that at one time he heard one of the men call the other by the name Leo. Further, he told us that when the two bandits had taken him from the truck, they'd placed him in a garage. He was able to feel the wall, and he said that he was sure it was a plaster wall, inasmuch as he could feel the studs and the wire holding the plaster. He said that at one time he heard a woman come out of a house and say something to the thieves while they unloaded the truck. He told us that the garage wasn't very large because there was no echo on the sounds that were made in the building. We called the office and got out a supplementary broadcast on the thieves carrying their descriptions. 10:40 a.m. Frank and I left the county hospital and drove over to Central Station. We went up to the crime lab and talked to Ray Pinker.
On the right rear fender, we found evidence that the truck had hit a car. Lifted some paint chips. Got them here.
Uh-huh. Looks like a blue car, huh?
Yeah. We checked the paint with a Ditzer Production color book. Here, I'll show you. We got all the paints cataloged by color.
Uh-huh.
Here. This is the one.
Yeah, but Ray, there are a lot of blues there. How can you be sure this is it?
Well, here. You see they got a color patch on each page in the book? Hole in the patch?
Oh, this little hole here, huh?
Mm-hmm. Well, we just put this chip we lifted from the truck in the hole. Now lay it down. Get this lamp. There. Color matches. Get them the same light, and you can see they're the same paint.
Huh. Look at that, Joe. Same.
Yeah, I see. Well, what do we got out of it, Ray?
Car the truck hit was a 1953 Hudson Jet. It was a single-tone car. You know, the top color matches the body color.
Yeah.
You can only use this on one-color cars unless you got a special order.
Uh-huh. Did you find any house paint on the side of the truck?
Yeah. Over here. Might be able to do a little better on that for you.
Uh-huh.
House the truck ran into is about 36 years old. Might be a little more than that, but it's right around there.
How did you come up with that?
Been painted 18 times. Figure once every 2 years you come out with 36.
Yeah. So how do we know it's been painted every 2 years?
We don't, Frank. Just guessing. But the layers of paint are pretty even. Might indicate they did it regularly. You know, didn't let the paint go too far before they redid it.
Oh, yeah.
Here are the chips of the house paint. Here, I'll put one of them under the microscope. Here, take a look, Joe.
Okay.
You see okay?
I haven't got a... Wait a minute. I'll adjust it. Yeah. I see what you mean.
Now, you notice the first coat was a cream white.
Mm-hmm.
And they stuck pretty much to that for the next half dozen paint jobs. Then they changed to a barn red. Then to a green, then back to cream white. That goes on for 3 layers, and then to the blue that's on it now.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Ray, if we find the house, can you tell us if it's the same one?
It shouldn't be too hard. Aren't many of them around.
Well, how many?
Well, 18 coats would be 18 factorial. That's multiplying 18 times 17 times 16 times 15, so on to times 1. I got it worked out for you.
I hope you have. I'm not with you at all here.
Well, look. Works out to 1 in 6 quadrillion, 402 trillion, 373 billion, 705 million, 728,000 chances of finding its twin.
Oh. That's pretty long odds.
Well, if every man, woman, and child on the face of the earth owned 10 houses apiece, there wouldn't be another one like it.
11:37 a.m. We put in a call to Leighton Prince. Harlan Stahl told us that his crew had gone over the truck thoroughly, but had failed to come up with anything. We contacted the stats office and asked them to make a run on the M.O. that the thieves had used. They told us that the results would be ready for us late in the afternoon. We contacted hit-and-run detail, but there'd been no reports that could have been the car that the truck had hit. We went to the office and got a large map of the city. Then we drove out to the county hospital to talk to the victim again. We asked him to trace his movements while he'd been held prisoner in the back of the truck. He drew a line down Santa Fe Avenue, up to Alameda, then over to Avalon Boulevard on 43rd Street. From there, he traced the streets down to Rosecrans Avenue. He drew a circle on the map centered on the intersection of Rosecrans Avenue and Avalon Boulevard. He told us that we'd find the house we were looking for inside the circle. Before we left him, we made arrangements for the mugshots to be taken to the hospital for him to check for a possible identification of the suspects. 12:40 p.m. We contacted Records and Identification Division and asked them if they'd had any luck on running the name Leo. We were told that they had 3 possibles for us. The addresses on the packages were not in the area that had been circled by the victim, Russell Gilmore. We got in touch with Lieutenant Jack Smyers and filled him in on the developments. He called Metro Division and made arrangements for 3 additional teams of men to work with us in a search of the streets within the circle drawn by the victim. He also contacted the divisional commanders and asked for their cooperation. The men were instructed to find a residence with a steep driveway leading to a detached garage. The house would have a wooden porch on the right side of the house as it faced the street. It would be damaged to the wood on the porch. Also, there was a possibility that a Hudson automobile would be parked either in the driveway or on the street right next to it. The car would have some damage done to it. 5:15 p.m. Frank and I got back to the office from the search area.
Man, I'm sure tired.
Oh, I'm with you. A lot of streets out there.
Yeah, a lot of houses on the streets. Wonder how the guys from Metro are doing.
I don't know. I'll get it. Robbery, Friday. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Just a minute. Let me get there. Yeah, okay. Hang on to it. We'll be right out. Right. Well, the Metro boys did some good.
Huh?
The house. They found it. The address given us on the phone was 1486 Cedar Street down in Compton. It took us 35 minutes to get out there from the city hall. The officers from Metro Division Reserve stood by until we got there. We found the house located on Cedar between Dwight Street and Tawada Avenue. It was a 1-story frame building with a stucco garage in the rear of the lot. On the left front side of the house was a wooden porch which had been scraped by some large object. Several of the pickets in the railing were broken. On the street in front of the house next door, we found a 1953 Hudson Jet painted a light blue. There was a dent in the left rear fender. We couldn't tell for certain, but the color of the car and the color of the paint on the porch seemed to match the chips that we'd seen in the crime lab. While the officers from Metro covered the rear of the building, Frank and I rang the front doorbell. There was no answer. We checked the garage, but we found nothing that would tie the house owners in with a robbery kidnapping. The interior walls of the garage were rough wooden studs. Between them, we could see chicken wire embedded in plaster. The physical description of the house, the ramp leading to the garage itself, and the car parked on the street matched in every detail the picture that we'd been given by the victim. 6:10 p.m. We got the name Conrad Lewis from the mailbox in front of the house, and while the officers from Metro checked it with our office, Frank and I went next door to talk with the neighbors.
Yeah?
Wonder if we could talk to you, man.
Sure. Who are you?
Well, it might be better if we got in off the porch.
You ain't coming in here unless I know who and what you are.
We're police officers.
Oh?
Yes, ma'am. Here's our identification.
Oh, yeah. Well, come on in.
Thank you, ma'am.
I'm Myrtle Richards.
This is my partner, Sergeant Friday. I'm Frank Smith.
Oh, how do you do?
How are you, ma'am?
You just sit down. I'll turn off the television.
Thank you.
Comedy. I've seen it before a couple of times. I always laugh at them again, though. They're funny.
Yes, ma'am.
It's a great boon to the people, television. This one's only 12-inch, but I think maybe next year I'll get a bigger one, maybe even color. They got it now, you know. It's true color. It's beautiful.
Yes, ma'am.
Of course, I ain't actually seen it myself. I just read about it, you know. Beautiful. Oh, I'm a great fan. I got it on all day, right from the early show to the late show. I understand next week one of them stations is going to start an early show. Now, that'll be nice, won't it?
Yes, ma'am, sure. I wonder if we could ask you a few questions.
Certainly. You just go right ahead.
That car out front, does that belong to you?
The blue one?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, that's mine. I just got it a few months ago. That's what you're here about, huh?
I beg your pardon?
About how somebody hit my car? Big dent. Isn't that what you're here for?
No, not exactly. Do you know who hit your car?
No. I wish I did. If I knew, I'd sue him. Imagine hitting a car that's parked right at the curb and not leaving a note or something to say who did it. The person that ran into me must be insured. Wouldn't cost him nothing. All he had to do was leave a card.
Yes, ma'am. When was the automobile hit?
Yesterday morning. I walked down to the market to do some shopping and get some things for dinner, pretzels, potato chips, things to eat while I watched the TV. When I got back, the dent was there. Did it while I was gone. Did it and didn't even leave a card.
Yes, ma'am. Could you tell us who lives next door to you, please?
Which side?
The left side over there.
Well, that's Lewis's house. Why are you asking about them?
How long have they lived there, do you know?
Yeah, I guess it's been about 10 years. They moved in right after Conrad. That's Mr. Lewis, right after he opened up the new store.
What line of business is he in?
Well, he got some kind of a shipping business. Has deals with different stores all over the state.
Did you see Mr. Lewis yesterday?
Yes. Matter of fact, I did. He come over like usual at 5:30.
He usually come over at that time, does he?
Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, yeah. You see, there's a TV show he likes to see. I watch it, but his wife don't care for it. She watches something else, so Conrad comes over here. He was here last night.
You see him during the day at all?
No, I didn't.
You know where they are tonight?
I'm not sure, but I think they went to the movies. Seems to me Mrs. Lewis said that her and Conrad was going to a show over in town.
That's probably for us. I'll get it.
I imagine so. Isn't anybody come calling on me this time of night?
Oh, it's Henderson, Joe. I'll be right back.
Right. Have you noticed any trucks in the neighborhood lately, Mrs. Richards?
Oh, well, I'll have to think about that for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
You don't mean like the garbage you can truck, do you?
No, ma'am. Large moving vans.
See the others quite a bit.
Yeah.
Well, now, let me see. Well, there were some people who just moved into a new house down the street. That was about a month ago. That didn't help?
Well, thank you, Mrs. Richards.
Joe, see you a minute.
Yeah. Excuse me, please, Miss Richards.
Yeah, you go right ahead.
Yeah.
Henderson ran the name Conrad Lewis through the files.
Mm-hmm.
He's been convicted for armed robbery.
You are listening to Dragnet, the authentic story of your police force in action.
Smokers by the thousands are now changing to Chesterfield because they're learning the facts about Chesterfield. Facts like these.
A doctor has been examining Chesterfield smokers for 20 months, almost 2 full years now. We've just received his latest report, and it confirms again no adverse effects to the nose, throat, and sinuses from smoking Chesterfield.
That's a matter of record. And so is this. Chesterfield is the only cigarette proved highest in quality, low in nicotine. Those are the facts about Chesterfield. More good reasons why Chesterfields taste so good, smoke so much milder. How about it, friends? Smoke America's most popular two-way cigarette, Chesterfield. Regular and king size. Best for you.
The record showed that Conrad Lewis had been arrested for suspicion of armed robbery 10 years before. He'd been brought to trial, convicted, and sent to San Quentin. He'd served 6 years, and then he'd been released. He was not on parole at the time. Frank and I parked our car down the street from Lewis's house, and we waited for him to return. At 10:57 p.m., we saw a dark-colored Lincoln sedan turn onto the street and swing into the driveway of the Lewis residence. A man and a woman got out of the car and entered the house. Frank and I waited a few minutes, and then we walked up to the front door and rang the bell.
Yeah?
You Conrad Lewis?
Yeah, that's right. Who are you?
Police officers like to talk to you.
Sure, come on in. What's this all about? Something wrong?
You own a truck? A truck. Do you own one?
No. You mind telling me what this is all about?
Can you account for your time since Monday night?
Why?
Can you?
Look, I don't know what this is all about, and I'm not going to tell you a thing until you let me know what you want. Now, what do you want?
The answers to those two questions. 12:15 a.m. It had been only a little over 48 hours since Russell Gilmore had been kidnapped and beaten, and we had a suspect in custody. However, Lewis refused to admit any complicity in the crime. We talked to him for several hours, but he told us nothing. He admitted that he'd been arrested before and that he'd served time in San Quentin. However, he stuck to his statement that since his release, he'd done his best to live by the law. With the evidence at hand, he was booked at the main jail on a charge of suspicion of violation of Section 211 PC. We obtained the keys to his place of business, and Frank and I went out to check it. It was a large wholesale store selling used furniture. A search of the premises failed to turn up any of the stolen merchandise. While Frank went through the stock rooms, I checked the business ledgers.
Nothing back there either, Joe. How'd you do?
Well, according to these, Lewis does a big shipping business.
That's what the woman next door told us.
He's been making shipments up to Oakland regular.
Books tell what they were?
Yeah, right here. He's been sending large lots of used stuff to a place on MacArthur Boulevard. There's a whole list of it here. Tables, living room sets, TV sets.
Better get in touch with the police up there and have them check this place out, huh?
Yeah. Without that stolen property, we're not going to have a very good case against him.
You got the address of the place up north?
Yeah. Let's go back to the office and get a call in.
Right. Sure hope they come up with the answers.
Well, if they don't, we might be in trouble.
Yeah?
The DA's office is liable to throw the whole thing out. Thursday, June 5th, 8:20 a.m. We put in a call to Captain of Inspectors Tony Bolger in Oakland and asked him to check on the recipient of the furniture shipment from Lewis. We also gave him as detailed a description of the stolen merchandise as we were able to obtain. In the meantime, Lewis had been admitted to bail and was released. Thursday, 11:15 p.m. Frank and I got back to the office from checking a lead on one of the suspects who'd driven the truck. I got it. Robbery Friday. Yeah. Yes, it is. All right. Tony Bolger from Oakland.
Let's hope we called it.
Yeah, Tony. Yeah? Well, what'd he say? Well, that's the way it looked from here. What? Yeah, right. Okay, thank you.
How about it?
When you talk to the man who bought this stuff, he's clean.
How about the merchandise itself?
It's all stolen. 11:20 p.m. We got in touch with Lieutenant Smyers and filled him in on the new developments. After we talked to him, we contacted Officers Max Herman and Ed Benson and made arrangements to meet them at the house on Cedar Street. It took us less than half an hour to get out to Compton. The other officers were there by the time we arrived. While they covered the back door, Frank and I went up to the front.
You think he knows it's us?
I don't know. Try it again. Well, the car's in the driveway. We know he's in there.
Wait a minute. Sounds like somebody's coming now.
Yeah? What are you doing out here? Aren't you guys ever going to get off
Mind
my
if we
back?
come in and talk?
I got a choice?
No, you haven't.
Well, then come on in. Want to go through the house again?
That won't be necessary.
Yeah. I'm glad of that. What's it about this time?
Same as before.
Maybe you better spell it for me.
We can go that route if that's the way you want it.
Go ahead. I like fairy tales.
All right, we got a report from a victim who was robbed and kidnapped. He was able to give us a description of this house, of your garage, and of the whole setup.
You've been on a spike again. You see him.
We took a sample of the paint from your front porch. It matches paint found on a truck that was hijacked.
A lot of houses in L.A.
Not painted like this one.
You think you're going to send me to the joint with a batch of paint?
It's going to help.
Look, cop, you know I've been the rounds. I've seen enough trouble to know it's rough to get a conviction with circumstantial evidence. That's all you got with me, nothing more. Now, why don't you go home and I'll just forget you were here tonight?
We got the plant.
What?
We got the plant. They moved in on it.
The man you sold the stolen furniture to is willing to testify.
You know we got you cold. Now, why not cop out?
That's the way it hangs, huh?
That's the way.
All right, I'll get my coat and go with
Just point it out. We'll get it for you.
In the closet.
Never mind.
You're making a point of it.
Outside. He's in his car. Yeah, come on. He's heading down toward Rosecrans. Better hit the siren.
Right.
He's turning on the Rosecrans. Take a left.
I got him.
See him?
Wait a minute. Yeah, up ahead there. Try a shot?
Better not. Too many people around. Can't you close in on him?
I think we're pulling up.
Making a turn.
Yeah.
Stay with him.
Hang on.
It's a dead end, Frank.
Yeah. He's in trouble, Joe.
Come on. Well, let's get him out of there. Yeah, that door's stuck. Wait a minute, I'll give you a hand. There. Can you get him?
Better call an ambulance. The motor's in his lap.
Is he still alive?
Looks like it. Can you help me here?
Yeah, let me get in there. All right. Come on, let's put him down here.
Yeah.
All right, take it easy, Lewis.
I'll call the ambulance.
Right. Take it easy, Lewis. We've sent for a doctor.
I didn't see the sign. I didn't know the street didn't go through. Lousy break. Lousy break. I'd have made it if I stayed off this street. You'd never got me if I'd stayed off this street. I just turned the car and all of a sudden I was on a dead end.
Afraid you're wrong there, mister.
Huh?
You've been there a long time.
The story you have just heard is true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On October 14th, trial was held in Department 97, Superior Court of the State of California, in and for the County of Los Angeles. In a moment, the results of that trial.
Now, here's our star, Jack Webb.
Well, here it is. The most talked-about Christmas gift of the year. The Chesterfield Christmas carton. Now featured in nearly 1,300,000 retail tobacco stores from coast to coast. The famous covered bridge has been honored this week by a new Christmas tune, The Kissing Bridge. You'll be hearing a lot of it between now and Christmas. So give the gift that everybody's talking about. America's most popular two-way cigarette. Regular and king-size Chesterfield. Premium quality Chesterfield. Best to give, best to get for Christmas.
Conrad Austin Lewis and his Confederates were apprehended and brought to trial on 11 counts of grand theft auto and 1 count of kidnapping. They were found guilty and sentenced as prescribed by law. Grand theft auto is punishable by imprisonment in the state penitentiary for a period of not less than 1, nor more than 10 years. Kidnapping is punishable by imprisonment for a term of from 1 to 25 years in the state penitentiary. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department. Technical advisors, Captain Jack Donahoe, Sergeant Marty Wynn, Sergeant Vance Brasher. Heard tonight were Ben Alexander, Vic Perrin, Virginia Gregg, Jim Griffith. Script by John Robinson. Music by Walter Schumann. Hal Gibney speaking.
Watch an entirely new Dragnet case history each week on your local NBC television station. Please check your newspapers for the day and time. Chesterfield has brought you Dragnet, transcribed from Los Angeles.
Buy new Fatima, the smooth smoke with Fatima tips of perfect cork. King size for longer filtering, and Fatima quality for a much better flavor and aroma. This Christmas, give Fatima in the special Christmas carton. Cork tip and plain ends, too.
Hear Merrill Miller and the news next on the NBC Radio Network.
This one's about Pete Kelly.
about the world he goes around in. It's about the big music and the big trouble and the big 20s. When they ask you, tell them this one's about the blues. Pete Kelly's blues.
Pete Kelly's Blues, starring Jack Webb, with story by Jim Moser and music by Dick Cathcart.
Number 417 Cherry Street is a standard speakeasy. The help is paid in cash. The books are burned at the end of the month. Every week we use 30 cases of booze and a pound of coffee. After salaries, there's gas and lights and a payoff to the Prohibition boys. In Kansas City, the price is good. For $100, they steer in the drunks and make one raid a year. The place is run by George Lupo. He's a quiet little guy who wouldn't give you the sweat off an ice pitcher. The beer's green and the gin's as young as yesterday and the music's loud. I'm Pete Kelly. I play cornet. We start every night about 10 o'clock and we play till they sweep out the broken glass. Well, we don't draw any customers. We don't chase any away. The music is straight New Orleans. Started in the front parlors of Storyville and drifted up north. Some of it laid over in Chicago. That's where I got on. And wrote it out here with a piano player named Augie. Well, he's still with the band, but last night he was barely with it. We took a break about 11. Augie was late getting back. Might as well have stayed in there because he kept looking around the room, and the way the piano sounded, you'd think he had on the catcher's mitt.
All right, that'll do it. Let's get off for a while, huh?
Sorry, Pete. Running a little behind tonight.
You haven't left the station. What's the matter, Augie?
I'm nervous. Take a look around. Near the door, back this way. Place full of cops.
Don't forget it. Have Jake open a couple of windows. Take a walk. Get yourself in shape, huh?
Not till I find out which way to fall. These boys are here for heavy duty. I learned that out in the kitchen.
Now, let's duck behind the stand. All right, what about it?
You know Dutch Courtney?
I drink his beer, that's all.
Well, somebody shot Courtney up tonight out near Highway 40.
Well, that's too bad. He'd have drawn a good crowd downtown. Who killed him?
I don't know, but whoever he is in for a big night. The police are trying for him, so's his partner.
Well, let him play. How does our place fit into it?
I couldn't guess, but we'll find out soon. See the big guy that just walked in the door?
Yeah, boss cop?
Almost. It's Eddie Newman, Dutch Courtney's partner.
Come on, we better get back in the stand.
Kelly.
Yeah.
My name's Newman. Come outside.
Well, we're due to play.
I'll hear you later. Come on. You hear about Dutch Courtney? Picked him out of the mud tonight.
Means nothing to me.
Does to me. Dutch was a friend.
Well, if it'll help, cry.
I'm short on time, Kelly. Now give me a rundown on Gus Trudeau.
There's nothing to say. He played for a while and he went to the boneyard.
You know him? You know his sister?
You'll have to ask Courtney about that. I haven't seen her since the old days.
You knew Gus well enough to figure he didn't like Dutch Courtney. He didn't like him 1 pound.
Well, you can't blame him. Dutch sidestepped and paid Trudeau's way to jail.
Bookkeeping. I don't know anything about it.
All right, look, Newman, you're on the wrong track. This is a job killing. Your boy got frisky and somebody sent down a Chicago gun. The price tag shows.
Sorry, Trudeau's my pick.
What'd he hit him with, a high-powered rifle? Gus Trudeau's away up in Leavenworth.
He used to be. Gus went over the wall this morning. When he shows up, I want him.
Well, why pick me?
I've asked around. He'll head for you. He's broke. He'll need train fare.
No, not if he killed Dutch Courtney. Somebody will give him a railroad. When they dragged the blues out of the back room and moved them up front, there were 3 of the best leading the parade. They were all blowing cornets. One was Buddy Bolden, one was King Oliver, and the other was Gus Trudeau. Oh, he was a lot of music, but not much man. He picked me up on a union date on the south side of Chicago and taught me how to play. He got into me for a Boston 3-star cornet and gin for the rest of his life. When he got down to running errands for Dutch Courtney, I left for Kansas City. A couple of months later, Courtney needed a patsy, and Trudeau was it. He wound up with a 5-year stand at Leavenworth. But Gus never felt right unless he was in trouble. Only this time he cut me in for a piece, too. Well, I picked up a drink at the bar and fought my way back to the stand.
Anything wrong?
No. Did you finish the set?
One more to go, Jasmine.
All right, let's do it.
What's wrong, Pete?
A friend of ours killed Dutch Courtney. Jasmine.
Let's get off for a while.
Now, who did you say killed Dutch Courtney?
Gus Trudeau.
What with? Brad? Trudeau's in jail.
No, not since this morning.
Which one of you is Kelly?
I am.
A friend of yours in town wants to see you right away.
Who is it?
He's waiting up at your room.
Did he give a name?
Just Gus.
An hour later, I was still looking for an out. It was a little after 2 a.m. Our base man, Red, loaned me his car keys, and I slipped out. I got on to 12th Street and picked up his Erskine coupe and headed up for my room. All the way out Grand Avenue, the streetlights were spending the rest of New Year's alone. Some guys with wide brooms were pushing at the confetti, and the fog was loafing down in Washington Square. When I got to my place, I parked the car in back and headed up the stairs. College kids down at the end of the hall had their door open. Their party sounded young. I was looking for Gus when I opened the door, but he had a substitute. I knew her way back at 18th and Halstead. She was pretty and the fastest freight in town. That must have been a long time ago, because somewhere along the line she'd run into a batch of Wednesday weekends. She wasn't pretty anymore.
Hello, Pete.
Where's your brother?
I don't know where Gus is. That's why I'm here. I knew you'd be the first one he'd come to.
Yeah. Now what about the break?
I was up to see him 2 weeks ago. He didn't say anything about it. Pete, we've got to help him.
I've been hearing that since I met him.
You're the only one who remembers, Pete. You're the only one who cares.
Yeah, well, a lot of people care now. Eddie Newman wants him. The cops are looking hard.
I've got to find him before they do. You got to help Pete.
He was supposed to meet me. That's all I know. I'll wait for him.
He needs a hand, Pete. He's in deep.
Yeah, well, he's always in deep. Now, you do what you want, Madge. I ran front for Gus too long. I'm out of the habit now.
Please.
Gus wants cover. He can look for a police station.
Gus can get away. Some money and a car. That's all he needs.
It's going to take more than that to get out. Every cop in town's working tonight.
Oh, give him a chance, Pete. Help him.
No, thanks.
Gus has been good to you, Pete. He taught you music. He's been nothing but good to you.
I'm paid up. I bought his gin for 5 years.
Then do it for me. For what I used to be worth.
No, it's old. It was 80 years ago. I can't help it.
Do it for me. I haven't changed that much.
I have.
You're still the same.
You've been working at it.
You remember.
Yeah.
It's the same, Petey. It's just like the first time.
You never had a first time. How about a drink?
Will you help me, Pete? Find Gus. Get him out of town.
All right, $10. As far as I go, $10.25. Now I'm getting off.
Where are you going?
Back to work. Tell Gus to take care of himself.
Hold it right there, Pete.
You stay too long in Chicago, Madge.
I bought the gun in Kansas City. Don't go for the door.
You better give it to Gus. He may need it.
We're going to find him. You're going to help me.
All right, come on. Give me the gun, Madge.
If I shoot, it'll hurt. Yeah.
Come on. Put it away, Madge.
Oh, stop it.
Who is she?
We'll trade. Who are you?
Cage. I work downtown on homicide. Who you got on your floor?
Madge Trudeau.
Tell me about her.
I knew her in Chicago. After that, I heard she did favors for Dutch Courtney. After that, I don't know.
Is she tired? What's she doing here?
Looking for Gus Trudeau.
Where is Gus?
I don't know. I've been asked that twice tonight. This is the third time I don't know.
You probably will.
Why? Why do I have to get into this?
Because you're Gus Trudeau's friend.
Then let's get him another one. I'm tired of the job.
I don't blame you, fella. You'll come out of this with a lot of trouble.
For instance?
I'll make it simple. If Gus Trudeau shows and you turn him over to Newman, we'll send you up as an accessory to murder. If he shows and you turn him over to us, Newman will probably kill you.
Oh, that's real good. In the meantime, what do you guys do for a living?
We're busy. We couldn't prove Newman killed you. It's after 2. Get back to that club.
Leave you here?
I got work to do.
Like what?
This woman. I'll see if I can get anything out of her.
Yeah, well, it's been done before, but I'll bet 10 to 1 in your case.
Go on back. I'll tidy up here.
Good night, cop. Leave the rugs. I left Cage standing in the middle of the room looking down at Madge Trudeau. He didn't watch me leave, but I figured it wouldn't be too long before he turned that gleam back on me. Well, I went back to 417 and ran into our piano man, Augie, outside in the alley trying to steal some clean air.
Happy holidays, Petey. How's Gus?
I didn't see him.
Oh, forget him. I got it all figured out for the two of us, Petey. Today we'll spend our time dodging destiny. We'll hit for some small back room. I'll bring the bottled goods, and we'll live on gin and sauerkraut and make the walls sit up and listen. 1 horn, 1 piano. The blues, Petey. We'll write them in the middle of next year.
All right, save it. Will you just set me straight?
Right now, across the river, there's 2 places. The High Life Club or Fat Eddie's.
You sure he's there?
That's what the word is. I'll pass the hat down at the Union Hall for both of you.
Is Gus alone over there?
He is now, but there's going to be a crowd.
What do you mean?
I told you.
Yeah.
When Eddie Newman gets back, I got to tell him.
I knew it was a silly move. Newman had 100 guns on tour for Gus. Cage and the boys from headquarters were standing by for seconds. Helping Gus Trudeau was out of order, but I couldn't get one thing out of my mind. If Gus did kill Courtney, why didn't he pick up some travel money before he did it? I was backward. If you're going to hang up your pants, you take them off first. Well, it was about 3 a.m. when I got down to the river and crossed over to the Kansas side. The High Life Club was smoked up and had a little of everything, except Gus Trudeau. I looked in the kitchen and tried a back room. Then I went to the bar to see if I could drum up some talk. I had one taker, a boy with wavy black hair. He got up from a table of 3 others, walked over and sat down next to me.
Hello. Come in your office?
That was the first time.
Welcome. Buy a drink?
No, I'm all set. Try one yourself.
Oh, I think drinking's all right, but I hate people who drink too much, don't you?
You work here?
Well, not regularly. Sometimes I dance and the other act doesn't show up. You here alone? Waiting for someone?
Waiting for a guy named Gus Trudeau.
You one of his friends?
Ahmet. Where is he?
He left a while ago. I'm not sure where he
Well,
went.
get sure. It's important.
You mentioned someone named Dixie.
All right, hold it.
Well, what do you hear, Kelly?
All right, get away, Newman. Try another stool.
This'll do.
If he asks you to leave, I think you should leave.
Well. Choir boy. That's nice.
Leave him alone.
Who is he?
I never saw him before.
What's he know about Trudeau?
Nothing.
Don't kid me. You're not here to spend the time of day. You're here for Trudeau. You, little friend, where's Gus Trudeau?
I don't have to talk to you. I'm a guest in this place.
You're not anymore. Now climb down and head for that door, both of you.
You can't make us do that. We're not going to leave.
It's a split vote, Buster. I don't like the way he pushes.
That's right. Just walk. I'll bet you look good.
I knew right then. As we walked out, I knew Eddie Newman wasn't going to leave him alone. He was going to pick at him, whether he knew anything about Gus Trudeau or not. It was going to get messy, and the boy with the nice eyes was going to help. Outside, it wasn't snowing anymore, but the ground was covered right down to the river. The moon out, and it looked all right if you like nature. We walked over toward a bunch of trees. Newman's car was parked there, a black touring sedan with a strong-arm guy in the back seat. There was another one sitting on the running board. He had a machine gun across his lap.
This'll do. All right. Now let's hear about Gus Trudeau.
I don't know anything about him. This man and I were just talking.
Go easy, Newman. I never saw him before.
Does he always talk to strangers? I'll bet he does.
None of your business.
Where's Gus Trudeau?
I wouldn't tell you. Suppose I knew, I wouldn't tell you.
Oh, yes, you would.
Keep your hands off of me.
Stop pressing, Newman. You don't care about Trudeau now. You just don't like this guy.
Stay out, Kelly. Come here, you. Stop screeching. I'll break your arm off.
Keep your hands over me, you big, dirty pig.
You're in trouble, fella. Shut up.
He is a pig. His hands are dirty and his teeth are dirty. No pity, even his clothes are dirty. Oh, that knife.
Now lay there. All right, Dave, move in here. Back away, Kelly. You're up, choir boy.
No, please, mister, do something. Don't let a thing like this happen.
It already has, Buster. Come on, Dave. It's getting cold.
Newman climbed into the car and they drove off. I stayed there a minute to look at the guy in the snow. His face was unmarked. I did him a favor. I rolled him over so it showed in the moonlight. I knew his mother'd want him to look good the night Eddie Newman's chopper squad cut him down. Well, the name Bessie had to mean Fat Annie's place up the river on the Kansas side. I made it there and found Bessie. She was back at the piano wandering around somewhere in the middle of the blues. You couldn't miss that voice if she took up yodeling. Bessie Smith.
Hi, Pete.
Hi, Bessie. What do you know?
Round back, Pete. You go up the stairs, the loft. Way up there at the top.
Thanks, Bessie.
Okay, Pete. All right, Eddie.
I felt my way out around back and up a couple of flights of stairs that didn't creak in time with the music. There was a door at the top. I pushed it open. He was hunched back on a pile of hay in the corner. He sat up and blinked a couple of times. There wasn't much left, just the frame. And rattling around inside, a lot of tired echoes that wouldn't lay down and die. There was an empty gin bottle on the floor.
Petey, I knew you'd get here.
Yeah, well, they didn't make it easy.
You're looking good, Petey. Everything's 6 to an even, huh?
You forget easy, Gus. You're in a jam. You broke jail.
Yeah, I told him all about you up there, Petey. I told him there's another Gus Trudeau blowing down in Kansas City. I'm proud of you, Pete.
Yeah, sure, Gus.
You're just like me, Pete. I told him all about you. You're the only good thing I ever done. I knew you'd come through. Car and some money, Pete. It'll do everything. It'll make it all new. Is it too much to ask? You tell me, Pete.
They want you for Dutch Courtney.
You know better, Pete. I didn't kill Dutch.
Well, you had a reason.
Did I? I forget.
He hung a frame on you, Gus. 5 years worth, remember?
I didn't kill Dutch. Give me a drink, boy.
No, not tonight.
Don't preach at me. Just something to help me on.
Oh, yeah, now come in out of the fog, Gus. You're going to get a drink or a train ticket from me. Take your pick, because it's the last time around.
Just listen to that. Bessie's still going strong, ain't she?
Yeah, and so are the cops. I got one idea for you, Gus. Get moving.
You remember Chicago, Petey? You and Madge? Chicago always liked me.
You checked out, Gus. Beiderbecke's got your chair.
They'll remember me and you, Petey. I found you when you were nothing.
What are you going to do? Where are you going?
I got it all set up. It's big and brand new. A place in Mexico.
Yeah?
The guy who bunked in my cell with me, his mother runs a place down there. It'll be just like it used to be.
You won't get there on a gin bottle.
I got it set up, boy. A car and some money. It's not much to ask. You haven't got a drink, have you?
You can drink in Mexico. Where are you dreaming up the car and the dough?
It's fixed, boy. You just see this guy and tell him I'm ready. Abe Gaffney. He's got a place on Pershing Road. You know it?
Yeah, I know it. Abe's doing all this?
Just tell him I'm ready. How's Madge?
She's all right.
Come and see me, huh? It's hot down in Mexico.
Gets hot here.
What's the matter, Pete? You ain't sore, are you?
No, I ain't sore. I'm just tired. I'll tell Gaffney, and then I'm checking out. Goodbye, Gus.
You're not getting too big for your old friends, are you, boy?
Friends are like everything else, Gus.
Yeah?
They wear out on you. Wasn't any different than a dozen times before. I knew there wasn't very much left, but I wasn't looking for a second-rate ghost with an empty gin bottle. Well, I crossed the river to the Missouri side, headed down Main Street, and then I swung over toward Abe Gaffney's place on Pershing Road. It was pushing close to 5:30 a.m. The sun wasn't up yet, and the night was too tired to care. I pulled up in front of the Murad sign out in front of Gaffney's. Inside, a counterman with pimples and coffee was leaning on last night's paper. A beaded curtain shut off the hallway that led back to Gaffney's room.
You want something?
Yeah, Gaffney.
Not here.
Where do I find him?
I don't know.
I was supposed to meet him here.
That's up.
Look, this is Gaffney's place. Where is he?
I told you.
Now, listen, Junior. Maybe you think you do a good imitation of Calvin Coolidge, but I want an answer. Where's Gaffney?
What's your name?
Kelly.
You could have saved an argument this way. Through the curtain.
When do you go to bed, Kelly?
Yeah. You still looking, Newman?
Still asking. Where's Guts?
I don't think you'd give me time to answer.
There's a good reason why I let you walk away tonight. I gave you 2 hours all by yourself on the Kansas side. I don't think you threw him away. You got a line on Gus Trudeau, and I want it.
I got nothing for you.
Don't be silly, Pete. The cops get him or I do. He goes either way.
You get no help from me.
I don't want help. I want Gus. Now, come on! Come on! Come on, or I'll make you part of the wallpaper.
You better send for Dave.
I don't need it.
I think you do. Now, don't bother to get up. I'm leaving.
I don't believe it. Wasn't your turn, Kelly.
When I got up off the floor, the room was cold and the lights were out. Newman was gone, but I knew he was still in business. I knew if he didn't find Gus Trudeau this trip, he'd come back for me. Well, I got into Red's car and followed the radiator cap back to 417. I found Offie back at the stand having breakfast.
Did you bring an egg, Petey? Kitchen's closed down.
Newman been back here?
I haven't noticed. You look abused.
Yeah. Did anybody say anything?
Who missed? You heard the news?
What's that?
They found the guy who got Dutch Courtney. A fellow by the name of Doyle, East St. Louis. Cops got the goods on it. Gun, fingerprints, the works.
What was his beef with Dutch?
Doyle owned East St. Louis. Dutch wouldn't believe it.
I'll leave it to Gus. If there's a hole, he'll fall in it.
Makes it easier, doesn't it? Newman will call his boys off now.
Somebody better tell him in a hurry.
Did you see Gus?
Yeah, I saw him. He's trying to get out of town.
Pete Kelly?
That's right.
Dave Gaffney, Pete.
Well, you're a hard man to find.
Newman came in the front door. I went out the back. This won't take long. Car keys and money for Gus.
Well, you got the wrong guy, Abe. I quit an hour ago.
Fight it out with yourself. Car's out in the alley. Gray Chandler. Tell Gus it's low on gas.
No, wait a minute. You can take this stuff to Gus. You know where he is.
No, thanks. You take care of Gus. He's an old friend.
What's the matter with you?
I hardly know him.
The clock over the bar said 6:15. We got back on the stand and started the last set. 80 pounds of stale cigarette smoke was holding up the ceiling, waving down in a dirty blue curtain over the dance floor. Behind the bar, one of the guys was wiping up. 2 couples picked their way to the dance floor, pushed each other around a while, and finally gave up. Oh, the whole thing, it was all out of step. Wrinkled stockings, brown gardenias, torn paper hats, and Gus Trudeau. He walked in the door and stood off to one side, just back of the stand.
Hey, Pete. Gus got here. He's safe now.
Don't make book on it. All right, last one. The blues in B flat. That's it. Same call tonight, 10 o'clock. You can...
Pete, Petey, over here. I heard you. You sound good, Pete. Just what I told him up there. You're on your way, boy.
All right, now you heard it, Gus. Here's the money. And the car keys. I'll see you, Gus.
You know what I told him? Another Gus Trudeau's blown down to Kansas City.
Yeah.
All right, boy. I'm leaving.
Happy New Year, Gus.
Hi, Madge.
Hold it there, Pete. It's a family fight. Stay out.
I thought I took that gun away from you.
What's the matter, Madge? What are you doing?
Don't tell me that talk, Gus. Dutch can't hear you.
What do you mean, Madge?
You killed him. You blew your top and killed him just like you did everything else for me. You and that gin and that cheap brass horn of yours. You sped us all, Pete and me. You ran through the whole bunch till you got to Dutch.
Hey, I didn't do anything.
You killed Dutch Courtney. I loved him. I loved him enough to square it.
You got it wrong, Madge.
Goodbye, Gus. I'll tell him to throw your horn in after you.
Read the paper, Madge. You killed the wrong brother.
Stay away, Pete.
It's in the paper, Madge. A guy by the name of Doyle. He killed Dutch.
They're not sure. Are they?
They're sure.
What'll I do?
I got two things for you, Madge. And the car keys. Now, you see what you can do with 10 minutes start.
You didn't have anything more for Gus, did you, Pete?
No, I guess not.
Well, maybe.
Yeah. Gus finally got out of town.
Pete Kelly's Blues, starring Jack Webb, with story by Jim Moser, music by Dick Cathcart, scoring by Matty Matlock. Pete Kelly's Blues is based on characters created by Richard L. Breen.
Ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent. Dragnet. You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to Bunko Fugitive Detail. An organized gang of pickpockets is working in your city. None of the victims can give a description of the suspects. There's no lead to their identity. Your job? Get them.
It was Tuesday, May 10th. We were working the day watch out of Bunko Fugitive Division, pickpocket detail. My partner's Frank Smith. The boss is Captain Gillian. My name's Friday. I was on my way back from communications, and it was 11:14 a.m. when I got to room 38. Bunko.
Joe?
Yeah.
Anything come in from St. Louis?
Yeah, they checked the Carney's plan back there. No trace of Beck.
Trip was wrong then, huh?
Yeah, looks like it.
Where to now?
Well, about all we can do is sit and wait for a reply on the radiogram. He's got to be someplace, and he isn't going to stop working. There'll be word on him somewhere.
I'll be glad when we turn the key.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Yes, sir?
I wonder if you could help me.
Oh, we'll try, sir. You want to come on in? What's it all about?
I've been robbed.
Sir?
They took my money, all of it, every bit. I don't know how, but they took it all. I don't know what to do.
Well, do you want to sit down?
Yes, please. I don't know how they did it. I tried to be so careful, but they took it all. 37 years doing without, and now I got nothing.
Well, this is my partner, Frank Smith. My name's Friday. Maybe if you tell us what happened here, we could help you.
Yes, maybe. I'm Louis Bonning.
Yes, sir?
I live at 1820 Woodward Court, Los Angeles, 12. I have a room there.
I see.
$14 a week in privileges.
If you tell us what happened, Mr. Bonning, we might be able to do something for you.
And I'm trying to tell you. I'm trying to think of what happened. I don't believe it yet.
Well, now, you said you were robbed. Is that right?
Yes. $5,200. All gone.
Well, were you held up?
No, nothing like that. If it was that way, I'd know. But just all of a sudden, I put my hand in my pocket to feel the money, and it wasn't there. Nothing was there. I had a pocket full of empty.
Now, sir, do you usually carry that much money around with you?
No, mister. I got it from the bank this morning. I'm going away. I was leaving Los Angeles. That's why I had the money, so I could leave.
All right, sir. Suppose you start right at the beginning and tell us the whole story, will you?
Well, my wife passed on 4 weeks ago, Monday, April 4th. Yeah, that's when it happened, April 4th.
Uh-huh.
We came to this country when we were both young. She died 4 weeks ago.
Yes, sir. If you'd go on about the theft, please.
Well, I thought I'd maybe go back to Chicago to live with one of my daughters. She asked me to come, and I thought I would, so I drew out the money.
You took the money out of the bank?
Yes, this morning. $5,200. It's what we'd saved. I couldn't leave it here in the bank if I was going to be in Chicago.
Well, you could have had the money transferred, you know.
Well, I guess that's what I should have done, but it's too late now.
Did you have the money when you left the bank?
Yes. I rolled the bills up and put them here in my pocket. Here, this one on the left side. I kept my hand on the money, so I knew it was there.
Now, what'd you do after you left the bank?
Well, I was going home. I thought I'd walk home. I went down the street, and then I thought I'd stop for some coffee. I was all packed at my room, so I didn't want to make a mess. So I thought I'd have a cup of coffee out.
Mm-hmm.
I went into the big market. They have a coffee counter there, and I went in and sat down. All the time I kept my hand on the money. I could feel it through the pants. It was in my pocket.
Yes, sir.
I had coffee, and then I went to go out of the market. As I walked through all the people, a box fell off a stack of boxes and almost hit me. I didn't think anything about it. Nobody was hurt. All the people in the market came over to me and asked if I was all right, but I said yes, I was all right. Then I went out of the market. I got on the street. When I remembered about the money, it was gone.
Now, it had been taken from you in the market, is that right?
Yes, mister. It was in the market, I think.
Well, let's get this straight. While you were in there, did anyone bump into you?
I don't understand.
I mean, anyone jostle you, bump into you without reason?
No, I don't remember.
Did anybody follow you from the bank to the market that you noticed?
It was hard to tell, mister. There are a lot of people on the streets. It would be hard to tell if there was anyone.
Yes, sir, I understand. But was there any one person you recall having seen this morning? One face that you might remember, maybe?
No, mister. I tried to think about it, but there's no one.
I see.
Do you think you'll get it back for me?
Sir?
The money. It makes a big difference.
How's that?
Before, when I had the money, I could go and live with my daughter. With the money, I could be independent. It would be a different feeling. You understand, don't you?
Yes, sir, I do.
That's why it's so important you get the money back, so I can go live with my daughter. So I can do that. That's the only reason I trouble you. The only reason I have to ask you to find the man. That's the only reason I got it.
That's a little different with us, sir.
Huh?
We've got another one. For the past several weeks, we've been getting reports of the existence of an organized gang of pickpockets working in Los Angeles. Contrary to most opinion, a pickpocket seldom works alone. Like everything else, it's gotten to be a highly specialized operation. Normally, there are several men to each team. The jug mob, who usually spends his time in banks looking for the victim. The shover, who pushes or bumps the victim so his money can be taken. And the wire, who does the actual pocket picking. In certain types of operation, the jug mob is replaced by the short, who works streetcars and spots people who have large amounts of money. Under normal circumstances, a professional group of pickpockets can take approximately $5,000 a day out of a tip or a crowd. 11:47 a.m. We had the victim, Louis Bonning, look through the pictures of known pickpockets for a possible identification of the man who'd taken his money. He was unable to find anybody who looked familiar. We told him to go home, and we said that we'd be in touch with him. 12:35 p.m. Frank and I checked back into the office.
It's a rough one, huh?
Yeah, they all come out that color, don't they? I sure hope we can do some good for him.
Yeah, nice old guy.
You want to get in touch with Slim Ramos? Let's go down and talk to him. He might be able to come up with something.
Yeah, I'll get his number. Get a new book. This one's getting almost impossible to use.
Yeah.
Look at this. Numbers all crossed out. You know when they change the prefixes?
Yeah.
They made a mess out of my book. Here it is. Expert. 4. Slim Ramos there? Hey, Slim, this is Frank Smith. Yeah. Good. Yeah, say, Slim. Now, wait a minute. No, the reason I called you, Joe and I'd like to come down and talk to you if it's okay. You going to be there this afternoon? Uh-huh. No, nothing wrong. Just a couple of things we want to check over with you. Yeah. Okay. See you around 2:30, huh? Is that all right? Yeah. Okay. No, I know where it is. Right. See you then. He's going to be in all afternoon. Said he'd be glad to see us.
Good. Maybe he's got something we can use on this thing.
Well, he'll lay it out for us if he has.
Well, it's the one good thing about starting with nothing, isn't it?
Yeah.
We can only go one way. 6 p.m. Frank and I checked out of the office, and we started for Santa Monica. Slim Ramos had been one of the best pickpockets in the business. He'd been arrested and served a term in San Quentin. After he'd been paroled, he'd opened a small stand on one of the amusement piers near the beach. From his past record, Ramos had been cooperative with the police department, and several arrests were attributed to his information. Ramos was operating a Wheel of Fortune booth at the end of the pier. Frank and I parked the car and walked out.
Quite a place, huh?
Yeah.
I got to bring the kids down here some Sunday. They get a real kick out of it.
Yeah. That's Slim's booth there, isn't it?
Yeah.
I don't see him.
He said he'd be here.
He might be around back.
Yeah. I'd sure like to win one of those hams.
Yeah.
Big ones, aren't they?
Uh-huh. Slim, you around?
Yeah, hold on. Be right out. Hi, Joe, Frank.
Hi, how are you?
I was in the back packaging some groceries.
Uh-huh.
What can I do for you?
I'd like to talk to you about a cannon operation.
Yeah, I should have known. Come on back here. We can sit down.
All right.
Hey, watch your heads on the counter.
Yeah.
Got a couple of chairs back here. Come on, I can finish up the sacking.
All right, go ahead.
Oh, what's it about?
Have you got any rumbles about a bunch working the downtown area?
What kind of operation?
Jug mob?
Like I heard something about a bunch coming in from the east. KC, I think. Seems I heard they worked a couple of still dates with a carny back there. Boss didn't know they were working. When he found out, he had them kicked off the lot.
You got any names for us?
No, not right off. Got to check around. Might be able to come up with them. What's the bit?
Yeah, they've been scoring good working the downtown area. Took an elderly man for his life savings this morning.
Uh-huh. Figures.
Huh?
They always pick on the elderly ones. Bump into a young guy, might give you trouble. Pick the old ones, they don't seem to notice it.
Yeah. How you been doing, Slim?
Oh, good. Got it real good. I ain't killing the world, but my rent's paid. I know there ain't going to be a fuzz on my tail tonight. I got it real good.
How long you been here now?
Oh, I guess it's been about a year. Thought if I could get permission, I might go out with a carny this year. You know, work the front end.
Mm-hmm.
Got a letter from a friend that's got a grind store with one of the big ones. Says he might be able to get me in.
A grind store?
Yeah, you know, everybody plays, everybody wins. Pay a dime to win a piece of slum worth maybe a couple of cents. Well, this carny I might go with's got no grift in the front end, all percentage games. The way I figured, if you go out with a good one, the weather holds, you're going to do all right.
You figure you can come out better than you do here?
Oh, sure. You see, we get a real good play over the weekends. Regular days, it's kind of slow. Go out with a big carny, you can draw crowds anytime if the weather's good. Bound to come out better.
Mm-hmm. You'll check into those names for us, will you, Slim?
Yeah, I'll make a couple of calls.
Can you make them now?
No, I'll have to get in touch with the guys tonight. I'll get back to you first thing in the morning.
All right, fine.
Same number, Michigan 5211?
That's right. Bunko Fugitive.
Yeah, all right, I'll give you a call. Buy you guys a cup of coffee?
No, thanks, Slim. We're just going to eat. You want to come along? We'll buy you one.
Okay. Now, hold on while I check with Harry. Have him keep an eye on things.
All right.
Yeah, you go ahead.
Okay.
Now, watch the counter. I came up too fast the other day, like took all the skin off my back.
Yeah.
Hold on a minute. I'll be right back.
All right.
Nice-looking place, huh?
Yeah. He's painted it since we were down here last time.
Yeah.
Well, let's go.
You painted up the place, huh, Slim?
Yeah, thought I might turn a bigger tip if the place looked good. You know, people like a clean-looking place.
How are the rest of the booths doing down here, Slim?
Oh, pretty good. I told you. Great. Other times a little slow.
Uh-huh. Any grift down here?
No, at least if there is, I haven't heard of it. Guy in the Santa Monica Police Department, Lieutenant Cunningham, he keeps the place real clean.
Yeah, that's right.
Last thing I heard about was a guy who was working with a camelback wheel.
A what?
Camelback. Like mine, only this was gaffed.
How?
Smoothest pitch around. The arrow is connected to a spindle. Spindle goes through a stand. Looks like there'd be no way to G it. Plain pipe. Looks clean.
What's the gimmick?
Well, the frame rests on 4 pins. Pins are supposed to be what anchors it to the counter.
Uh-huh.
Now, 3 of the pins go into one piece of the counter. They really do hold the wheel in place. The other one goes through a separate piece of wood on the booth side of the counter. There's a space between the board on the booth side and the one the 3 legs go through.
Yeah.
Now, the pin in the 4th leg is loose. It's connected with a bunch of levers inside the pipe, acts as a brake on the wheel. All the operator has to do is lean against the board, and he's got complete control of the wheel all the time.
Well, that's a real nice deal, isn't it?
Yeah, the way they figured, it's perfect. In case they get a cowboy in the crowd, the mark can pick the wheel right up out of the counter. Shows that there's no wires running to it. The wheel's gapped, and there's no way to prove it. Set it up with a couple of sticks in front, let them win a couple of times, you got it made. That's the way they figure it. Doesn't work out, though.
Well.
Now, like on my wheel, I got 120 numbers on it. Figure I get good action, I'm going to have maybe half of them covered. Right off, the odds are on my side.
Uh-huh.
Out of the rest, there's only one winner. Half of them covered means a gross of about $6. I give away $5 worth of groceries. Even with a winner, I come out every time. Percentages prove it. Look at it that way, you don't need a gaff wheel.
Yeah, it's too bad more of them don't figure it like this.
Yeah, I suppose. Took me a long time to find it out.
Yeah, but you came up with the answers.
I hope I can do the same for you on the cannon operation.
So do we.
It's funny. I get to thinking when I was working as a wire, how we figured that any time we could lift a poke from a mark was a big laugh. A lot of difference now.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Now I sleep nights.
$2:15 p.m. We continued to talk to our informant, Slim Ramos. He said that he didn't know the name of the carnival the possible suspects had been fired from. He said that he'd call some of his contacts and try to get the information for us. We set up a time for him to get in touch with us, and then Frank and I drove back to the office. We contacted Captain Didion and made arrangements for additional men to be assigned to help us. Sergeants John DeBetta and Danny Gilmore were asked to aid us in a search of the market where the victim had been robbed. We spent the next 3 hours in the market looking at the crowd in the hopes that we'd see a known pickpocket or even see a wire in operation, but the surveillance netted us nothing. We made arrangements for the victim's bank to be watched the following morning. 6:15 p.m. Frank and I got back to the squad room.
Place sure does a good business, doesn't it?
What?
The market, Joe. A lot of people go in there.
Yeah.
What's the matter with you?
Well, I was just thinking. I guess it comes down to the point where the only way to hang on to your money is to carry it in your hand and keep your fist closed.
It's darn close. I was talking with Lieutenant Jack Swan. He was telling me a guy came in here from Nebraska, came in by bus.
Yeah.
He was sitting in the station waiting for a coach to take him up north. Had all his money in his shoe.
In his shoe?
Yeah. Had it in his left shoe. Had the money all flat so we could walk on it. Figured it'd be safe there.
Well, wasn't it?
No. Dozed off for a minute. The next thing you know, his shoe's off and the money's gone.
How would anybody know where it was?
I don't know. The guy that took it found it, though. Guy dozed off for a minute, loses his shoe and all his money.
Anything turn up on it?
No.
Right again. Bunko Fugitive Friday. Yeah. Yeah, Slim. Mm-hmm. What was that name again? Yeah. Mm-hmm. What did he say about it? No, wait a minute. Frank?
Yeah. Here you go.
Yeah, pencil. Pencil, too.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. All right, Slim, go ahead. Was that with a K? Mm-hmm. What? O-L-C? C is in Charlie. O-T-T. Right. You know where they stand. Uh-huh. All right. Well, give us a call if anything more turns up, huh? Right. Okay, Slim. Thanks a lot. Right. Bye.
How do you do?
Well, pretty good. 3 names of the guys who work the Kearney and KC.
Yeah?
Slim talked to a friend, got the information that the guys who work in the downtown area have been scoring real good.
Say where we could find them?
No, he's going to try to get the address for us.
Well, we took a big jump just knowing who they are.
Deal now is to make it work.
What do you mean?
Well, Slim says his bunch is pretty hinky. They're playing it real careful.
Yeah.
Word's out they got 2 more big scores to make, and then they're going to leave town.
You are listening to Dragnet, the authentic story of your police force in action.
The 3 names our informant had given us were Howard Kremer, Victor Wyden, and Edward Olcott. We had the names checked through our record bureau, but we found that none of the 3 men had been arrested in Los Angeles. We got a radiogram off to the police department in Kansas City, the last place the trio was known to have worked. We asked that all information on the thieves be forwarded to us. We also sent a teletype to George Brereton up at Sacramento CII, asking him to check the names for us. The following morning, Wednesday, May 11th, we got word from Kansas City that the officials there were forwarding mugshots and descriptions of the 3 men. During the day, Frank and I met with Captain Didion, and a surveillance of the downtown area banks was set up. On Friday morning, when Frank and I checked into work, a special delivery letter was waiting for us. In it, we found the records and pictures of Kremer, Wyden, and Olcott. The pictures were handed over to the photo lab, and they started to reproduce them. The descriptions were sent to the print shop, and M.O. sheets were made up. As soon as possible, the pictures and the bulletins were distributed to all bank guards in the area. Additional officers from Bunko Fugitive were placed in the vicinity. Frank and I maintained a rolling stakeout in the downtown area. At 9 p.m. Friday night, the banks closed, and we'd gotten no report that the thieves had worked. Local broadcasts were gotten out on the men, but there were no replies. Monday, May 16th. The plan was put into effect again. No results. Tuesday, the gang didn't work. Began to look as if they might have closed up operations in Los Angeles and moved on. Wednesday, May 18th. Frank and I came back from lunch. I'll get it. Bunko Fugitive Friday. Yes, sir. That's right. Where? Right. No, don't do anything to let them know. Right. Well, let's go.
Something good?
The shover, bank guard, just spotted him. call had come from a bank at the corner of 7th and Jackson Streets. The guard told us that he'd seen one of the suspects enter the bank and under the pretense of filling out deposit slips, observe the withdrawals that the customers were making. It took us a little under 3 minutes to get to the address. We checked with the guard, and he pointed out the suspect. Frank pretended to make out a deposit slip while I waited at the new account desk. When we entered the bank, the suspect was standing at the teller's window. In front of him was an elderly man. As the line moved up, the suspect began to examine the slip that he'd made out. Then, as the elderly man took his turn at the window, the suspect walked away and stopped by the door. He waited for the man to finish his business at the teller's counter. Then, as he passed through the door, the suspect fell and stepped behind him. Frank and I followed him down the street. As he walked through the crowds, he was joined by Edward Alcott, the shover in the operation. The elderly man entered a small tobacco store, and as he went through the door, the wire, Howard Kremer, joined the other two suspects. As the elderly man stood at the counter waiting to be served, the shover walked over to the magazine rack. He stood looking at the magazines for a moment, and then as he turned away, he seemingly tripped and fell against the proposed victim. Both Frank and I knew it was coming. We were watching for it, and yet we missed the actual theft. The wire moved in and removed the victim's money so fast that we couldn't see it. The shover took the wallet from the wire, and the gang was ready to move on. Frank and I stepped into him. All right, Mr. Police Officers, you're under arrest. For what? Stop dreaming. You know the route. Now, come on. Beat it. Come on, grab the knife. All right, mister, come on your feet. Get up.
Leave me alone. You're going to regret this. Shoving a citizen around. No reason for this.
How about the other two?
They're out.
All right, let's get him downtown.
How about the victim?
No, he left when the beat started. Better try to catch him.
Yeah. You're going to be sorry for this. You wait. You're going to be real sorry shoving an honest citizen around.
Yeah, that's the trouble with you punks.
What do you mean?
You're wrong on both counts. The three suspects were taken into custody and brought downtown. The victim's wallet was found on the person of Edward Alcott. It was identified by the owner and booked as evidence. 3:15 p.m. We took the wire, Howard Kremer, to the interrogation room.
Sit down, Kremer. Yeah.
All right, you want to give us a statement?
For what?
Come off it. You know what we're talking about.
You got to have me cross with somebody else. I'm trying to level with you. I don't know what you're talking about.
You want us to lay it out for you?
I don't care much either way. You guys slam into a store where I'm trying to buy a pack of cigarettes, and all of a sudden I got handcuffs on. You tell me I'm hooked for being a pickpocket.
That's the way you want to tell it, huh?
There ain't any other words.
Your two friends tell it different.
What two friends?
Two fellas we picked up with you.
This is a big town. A lot of people. You walk into a store, you don't ask who's standing next to you.
They put the whole deal on you.
Who?
Leiden and Alton.
Never heard them.
How long do you figure you're going to keep this up, mister?
As long as it takes to get you on my side.
They don't build days that long.
That's your loss. I'm a nice fellow if you take the time to get to know me.
All right, Kremer, this is way off the road. Now, maybe you got all day, we haven't. You can either give it to us here and now, or we can drop you into a cell and let you wait it out.
You put me in a tank, and I'll be out in half an hour.
How many times have you been arrested?
Who says there was a first?
How many times?
You got the books. Look it up.
We asked you a question.
So I'm not a genius. I got trouble with addition.
Take everything out of your pockets.
What?
Come on.
For why?
Now, look, you're running out of funny time here, Kremer.
Then you better ring the bell, because I'll need more of it.
You got a job?
Yeah, I'm a president of a bank.
You're going way out on this, Kremer.
I like the scenery.
You work?
Yeah.
Where?
Round, no special place.
What do you do?
I'm a salesman.
What do you sell?
Whatever people can afford.
All right, now come on, put your things on the table right now.
You can sign a receipt?
They aren't going to be taken from you. We want to see what you're carrying.
Okay. You boys deserve a break, but I'll tell you now, the numbers on my phone book are mine. Don't go near them.
Come on, get it up.
Here's my wallet. Handkerchief, comb, nail clippers, some change. A couple of ticket stubs from a movie. A lousy picture. Cigarettes, lighter, that's it.
You got any money in that wallet?
Yeah.
How much?
I don't know. I don't pay much attention to how much I'm carrying.
You can't even come close to how much you got.
No.
Take it out and count it.
Okay. 1, 2, 3. All right. Comes out to $3,700.
You must do real good at that salesman's job.
Company pays big commissions.
I'd put the money in your pocket.
Why don't you put it in yours?
What'd you say?
Look, cop, I've been around. I've been with most of the carnies in the country one time or another. I know the score. There ain't a place in the world that the fix can't be put in. Now, why don't you just take the money? You drop it in your pocket, and I'll forget I was ever in here. Won't be nobody hurt. The old guy's may be out a couple of $100, but so what? He won't miss it. Why not put the fix and we'll both come out all right?
No, the fix just curdled, Kremer.
What?
You said we had the record. Well, you called it. We got all the word about you. Way down the line, you talk about how you worked with carnies. How long?
Huh?
What's the longest time you ever stayed with one outfit?
I like to move.
Yeah, sure you do. That's the way the people who run the show want it. Decent carny doesn't want a guy like you around. You or anybody like you. You've been on the road taking money away from people who can't afford it for a long time. Now we nail you, and you come in here acting like a big man. You do the indignant bit, and then when that doesn't work, you try to buy your way out. Well, you've had it, mister. We know it, and your two buddies know it. When are you going to take a good look?
You really figure you've got it made, huh?
We know we have.
The other two guys really cop out?
The whole thing. All comes down to how you engineered it.
You buy what they say?
We buy it.
Uh-huh. Then there isn't much more for me to say, is there?
Not a great deal, no.
Okay, let's go.
How about a statement?
Why?
Make it easier on yourself.
Easier if I cop out?
You know what I mean.
Yeah. All right. Bring the girl in. I'll give you a statement.
Right.
Yeah. You mind if I have a smoke?
What was that?
I said, you mind if I have a smoke?
No, go ahead.
Wild one, isn't it?
What?
Had it all down so pat. Good shover, better jug mouth. I'll sit in the front row with any wire in the business. All that, and it don't add up to a winner.
That's like you said.
Huh?
You got trouble with addition.
Howard Nathan Kremer, Edward Francis Alcott, and Victor Frederick Leighton were tried and convicted on 6 counts of grand theft money and received sentence as prescribed by law. Grand theft money is punishable by imprisonment in the state penitentiary for a period of not less than 1 nor more than 10 years.
Dragnet is a presentation of the United States Armed Forces Radio Service.
Ladies and gentlemen, the American Broadcasting Company brings transcribed to its entire network one of radio's most unusual programs. Pat Novak, for hire.
Sure. I'm Pat Novak. For hire. That's what the sign out in front of my office says. Pat Novak for hire. Down on the waterfront in San Francisco, you always bite off more than you can chew. It's tough on your windpipe, but you don't go hungry. And down here, a lot of people figure it's better to be a fat guy in a graveyard than a thin guy in a stew. That way, you can be sure of a tight fit. Oh, I rent boats and do anything else that makes a sound like money. It works out all right. If your mother doesn't mind you coming home for Easter in a box. I found that out Wednesday night about 9 o'clock. I closed the shop early and I came home to read. It wasn't a bad book if you ever wanted to start a forest fire. It was one of those historical things, and the girl in it wandered around like a meat grinder in ribbons. I was moving along all right. She was just getting her second wind before going after the world's record when the door to my apartment opened and the place began to get kind of crowded. From where I sat, the crowd looked good. She sauntered in, moving slowly from side to side like 118 pounds of warm smoke. Her voice was all right, too. It reminded you of a furnace full of marshmallows.
Good evening.
Yeah, thanks for knocking.
I don't think you mind my coming in without warning.
No, I get the cabbage smell from next door the same way.
Does it pay to be that polite, Mr. Novak?
Saves you the trouble saying please. What's on your mind?
That bottle in front of you. Will you pour me a drink?
No, I won't. You'll save dough if you look up a bartender.
All right. I came to use you instead of your whiskey anyway.
Let's hear.
My name is Lee Underwood. I'll give you $300 to do something for me. It'll only take an hour.
That's too much dough unless it's murder, and if it is murder, it's not enough dough.
Are you afraid?
I just don't like paid murder. I told you. When you get caught, the pain gets expensive.
If it were murder, I'd do it myself. Mr. Novak, I want you to frighten someone for me.
Why don't you hire a friend? Are they too pretty?
It's a man named Dixie Gillian. You'll find him in an office down on Folsom Street at this address. I promise nothing will happen to you.
That's what they told Benedict Arnold.
You'll be in this office until 11 tonight. I want you to go in and see him. Tell him you're from Adrian, and that he's to get out of town by tomorrow noon.
Suppose he wants to put it off.
He won't. Don't let him know who hired you. Just tell him Adrian said to leave.
Look, lady, you better go on home. For $300, I won't buy a tissue paper plot. Now tell me more or say goodbye.
There's not much more I can tell you, except there won't be any trouble. He's a rotten little beast, and I want him frightened badly.
Why?
He's been bothering my sister.
Why doesn't he bother you?
Because I bothered back too fast. You want the $300, Mr. Novak?
Yeah, it's going to be a long summer. Put it on the table.
Good. And you'll need this, too.
No, you keep that. I don't want a gun.
It's empty. Don't worry. See? No shells. It's perfectly safe.
Now, look, sis, I got a nasty disposition. You can rent that for $300, but if you want more, find a gunsel.
I don't want you to be a gunsel. That's why I want you to use this gun. I know it's empty. Use it on Dixie and you'll scare fast. It's just a way to save some breath.
All right. It's your $300.
You'd better go now.
Yeah. Wait till I get a coat with you. If your doorbell rings, don't play mouse.
Oh?
Because I may look you up.
Am I too young to ask why?
Because if anything goes wrong, I'll be around looking for you. And from there on, it won't be nice. I'll dirty you up like a locker room towel.
Relax, Patsy. You'll never learn to fall in love that way.
She handed me the gun and walked out of my apartment. Seeing her leave made you feel like Frank Buck losing an argument. She walked with a nice, easy swing of a satisfied leopard. And for a small leopard, she had pretty good spots, too. Well, I put the gun in my overcoat pocket and I went down to Folsom Street. The address was down near the bridge entrance, and the street was deserted except for a couple of winos near the corner trying to buy back 1926 at $1 a jug. I stopped in front of the place. It was a machinery company, and I could see a light burning in the back. I began to walk through the place. It was so quiet you could hear a worm with whooping cough, and there were enough shadows around to keep a ghost happy for years. When I got to the office back in the corner, through the glass, I could see a man sitting at the desk. When I opened the door and walked in, he didn't seem surprised.
Come on in, mister. You're bad on noise.
Yeah?
That's right. You make too much for a thief and not enough for a customer. What do you want?
How about 10 words if you're Dixie Gillian?
Go ahead.
You better look up a timetable.
What makes you that tough?
This.
Oh. Well, you look tougher with a gun. Does it make you talk faster?
Now, look, I'm going to say it slow, mister. Pack up your rompers and get out.
Is that you talking or somebody else?
I'm just the guy with a gun. Adrian does the talking.
And he says get out.
That's right. You got the whole message now.
All right, you told me, so wander out and spend your dough.
I will.
Oh, you'll need part of it, though. Because I'm going to give you an answer for Adrian. I'm going to take that gun away from you, mister. You can pick the pieces out of your head on the way home.
You better stand back or I'll share it with you.
You got your offer, mister. Let's see you make good.
Oh, save your muscle, fella. Drop that gun. Save your muscle, fella. The gun's empty.
Somebody fooled us, mister.
Sometimes you can get a home run with a half swing. That's the way it was this time. He couldn't have made it with a prayer book in both hands. He slid down to the floor and trembled for a minute and then flattened out like a leaf in a pool of water. Just before he died, he grabbed his side as if He didn't like the way it hurt. And then he didn't care. I rolled him on his back and let him look at the ceiling. His eyes were open, and he looked surprised, like a guy who didn't figure on a change in the weather. There was a scar that ran across his forehead and dug deep into his hairline. And he was lying there with a bunch of pink gum showing, as if he was trying to pick up a few bucks with a toothpaste ad. Well, I didn't have time to tell him how sorry I was, because if homicide caught me here, I'd have about as much chance as a canary in a basement full of cats. I started for the door, but right then I knew I could start ordering birdseed. It was Hellman, and he walked over to look at the body.
Hello, Novak. The guy looks embarrassed.
Yeah, I guess he is, Hellman.
What's he doing dead?
Putting in a beef somewhere, I guess. He rates it.
He'll like you for that, Novak. How'd it happen?
A team play. We worked it out together.
But you got the gun.
That's right. I got the gun.
Yeah. You feel like a bet?
No, just keep stealing the old way.
You know how I feel, Novak?
You feel flabby to anybody else, but to yourself, I suppose you feel good. Look, I walked in here with a gun. There was some quick fight talk, and I killed him, but it's still not a good rap.
I can get a long price on it for you, Novak.
I'll bet you can, Hellman. You can give me a bad deal, but part of the time it'll be from the other side of the deck.
Worse than that, Novak. It'll be all the time. I want to watch you, because I think you're going to be a crybaby.
I'm going to scream, if that's what you mean, Hellman. I'm going to scream about a gal that sent me in here with an empty gun.
That's a big hole for a cat pistol, Novak.
I got a last-minute curve. It was empty once.
Yeah, that's the only way they make a gun. I don't want you for an hour ago. I want you for this dead guy on the floor.
All right. I told you I didn't come in here to kill the guy. I don't know him. He may even be a good guy. I'm sorry he's dead.
All right, Novak. Just wait a few weeks. You can tell him personally.
Hellman had me up against the rail, and he knew it. When we left there, he was wearing a big, toothy smile. It was big enough to sew on his ears. He called the coroner and told him to pick up the stiff, and then we rode downtown. He dropped the gun into ballistics and hauled me into his office. The reporters were there. He gave them the whole story and told them how to spell Hellman. After that, we wound up at the desk, and he booked me on suspicion of murder. The next hour and a half was the kind of stuff they don't write about in the paper. They call it interrogation, and when you're finished, you've been through a lot of tight spots, like an atom up at Caltech. About 11 o'clock, Hellman brought me into his office, and from there on, it happened kind of fast.
I just talked to the DA. He's going to streamline things for you.
Well, he's going to look funny going to trial on a guy you can't identify.
You'll find out all about the dead guy.
You can't count his fingers without making a mistake. If you want to know who he is, talk to that girl. Her name's Lee Underwood.
We've been through all that, Novak. Now, suppose you tell me who Dixie Gillian is.
I don't know, Hellman. The girl said his name was Dixie Gillian.
I won't press you. I don't have to, Novak. I've got the only parlay I need. You, the dead guy, and a big fat murder gun.
Sure.
Yeah, Hellman talking. Yeah, I know it was a .38. They're crazy down in ballistics. I saw him standing over the dead guy. They must have made a mistake, that's all. No, I don't want him in here. I don't want him in here. Hey, Tony,
You're getting pale. You need some more rouge, Hellman.
I got some bad news, Inspector.
Well, keep it or you'll take more home to your wife. I'll talk to you later.
Talk to him now, Hellman. If that bullet doesn't match the gun, talk to him now.
That's right, Inspector. A .38 bullet, but it won't match the gun you brought in.
It's got to match. I came in and found him standing there. He's already admitted it.
It's a neat trick, then. If he fired the bullet out of that gun, he retooled it in midair.
I'm not that fast, Hellman. Come on, get out of that chair so you'll have room to squirm.
You keep still, Novak.
I won't bother you. I'm going home. I'm walking out of your jail, Hellman. You got a broken-down .38 that won't fit anything but your thumbs. You can't hold me on that.
I found you over the body. I can hold you on suspicion of murder.
Yeah, but it'll hurt tomorrow morning, Hellman. The papers will be down for a follow-up, and you'll have to tell them what it looks like out in left field.
I'll handle them.
You can't afford to let them start laughing at you. People get the idea it's your face.
You can save car fare if you stay right here, because I'll have you back by noon tomorrow.
You're not that good, Hellman. You couldn't hold a moth with a searchlight. The town ought to thank you.
What?
Oh, it's a nice jail, Hellman. With you around, it'll last for years. When I walked out of headquarters, I had a nice mess to juggle. It was like trying to walk the baby on a floor full of marbles. If things didn't add up for Hellman, they weren't going to do any better for me. I knew that gun I had went off. If it did, what happened to the bullet, and where did the other one come from? And why weren't there two shots? Well, I couldn't put my finger on a thing, and nothing added up. It was like trying to follow a grain of rice in a Shanghai suburb. So I looked up Lee Underwood's address, and I went by her apartment. The girl downstairs told me that she worked at a nightclub out on the Bay Shore Highway. Well, I had to hit a couple of places, so I looked up the only honest guy I know. An ex-doctor and a boozer by the name of Jocko Madigan. A good man until he began to figure the last drink in the bottle is just as easy to get at as the first. I found him in a little leather-trimmed sink on Powell Street. It was a grimy little hole where they washed the glasses once a week in stale beer. But Jocko was more at home than a vulture in Calcutta.
Ah, Patsy, you're just in time to celebrate my return to health. Something mild for Mr. Novak. A double stinger, perhaps.
No, forget it, Jocko. I got to talk to you.
Patsy, I've just passed through a crisis. A few minutes ago, they set before me a glass with a woman's lipstick all around the rim.
All right, Jocko.
I took one gulp and looked at the glass, and in this dim light, I thought I was bleeding to death. It took them 10 minutes and 3 mirrors to calm me down.
Jocko, I'm in trouble. You got to help me.
But they washed the glass for me in ammonia. They must have left a little ammonia in the glass because the next drink had a very odd tang about it. I've had 3 more just like it, a sort of ammonia colony.
All right.
So far, they've been using domestic ammonia. When the imported stuff comes in, I may give up whiskey altogether.
Calm down, will you, Jocko? I got a bum shake tonight.
Yes?
I either killed a guy or thought I did.
That uses up the alternatives. What are you doing now, taking a vote?
I got hired to scare a guy down on Folsom Street. 10 minutes later, the guy was dead.
Patsy, you take your work too seriously. Couldn't you have just scared him into a lingering illness instead of killing him?
One of the props was an empty gun. Only when the fight came, it grew bullets. Hellman walked in right after on a telephone tip.
What are you doing out of the gas chamber?
The whole thing backfired down at headquarters. The bullet and the phony gun wouldn't match. Oh, it doesn't add up, Jocko. That call to Hellman's a tip-off. I was framed, but why wasn't I framed all the way?
Who is the dead man?
Oh, just a guy with a falling blood count. His name was supposed to be Dixie Gillian, but there's no identification and no record on him.
You shouldn't have hired out as a gunslinger.
I told you I didn't hire out as a gunslinger. It was somebody else's idea.
You have no conscience, Patsy. It's just a sort of soap opera rule of thumb you put into practice now and then, but no real conscience. You'd let a dying woman lie in the middle of the highway unless her head was resting on a pile of savings bonds.
All right, Jocko. I'll try with you later. I need help now.
What sort of help?
I want you to break into a girl's apartment.
Yes?
Don't worry. She won't be home.
Is that supposed to be an incentive?
It's at this address here, up on O'Farrell. Her name is Lee Underwood. She's the one who hired me.
If the girl's not there, what am I supposed to find?
Anything that'll connect her with the dead man. He's a big guy with a scar.
That doesn't help much.
You can't miss. Go through the desk and drawers. Pick up everything you can, will you? And leave a message at my place.
As soon as I finish this drink.
Oh, hurry up, will you, Jocko? Leave the glass alone and get going.
Don't rush me.
Hurry up, will you? The glass is empty anyway.
Yes, that's what you thought about that gun, but the fellow got an awful jolt out of it. Good night, lover.
I went by a horse parlor on O'Farrell Street and borrowed a car from a guy. It was after midnight when I started down the Bayshore Highway, and about a half hour later, I pulled up in front of the Cat's Paw. It was a long, rambling place on the left side of the road. There was no plan. It just followed the erosion line until they ran out of material. There was enough neon in front to light a main intersection in heaven. In the lobby, I saw a picture of Lee Underwood, one of those shadowy things that was supposed to make you think she'd die in a cold climate. She was sitting at a piano with a little microphone in front of her, and you got the idea right away. She didn't have much of a voice, but plenty of songs that made your wife lean over and ask you to explain. I asked a 50-year-old busboy, and he said she was back in her dressing room getting ready for the 1 o'clock show. When I walked in, she was sitting in front of a mirror working on an upswept hairdo. If she swept it up any more, it was going to leave her head. I stood behind her, looking at the pink, fresh part of her neck that didn't show when the hair was down.
You seem fascinated, Patsy.
No, I just want to know where to break it.
Oh. Sit down on the footstool next to me.
Yeah.
That's it. I like to look down on people. Let me brush that strand of hair back. Or do you like it in your eyes?
Now brush it back so I can see your answers. Who's Dixie Gillian?
What difference does it make?
None to him and some to me. He's dead.
No, he couldn't be dead.
Yeah, well, he'd like to believe that, too. I couldn't sell him that story about an empty gun.
He couldn't have been killed with that gun.
No?
No. I put in a blank, Patsy.
Somebody used a hard-working bullet because Dixie's dead.
There's no reason to kill him. I don't understand.
Yeah, well, that makes you even with homicide, but they got a bigger team. Now, look, I made a diagram, Angel. Up at my place, I ran over murder with you. I don't like it. If you kill people, you don't get invited out enough. So if it's you or me on this one, I'm going to push you all the way.
Don't understand it, Patsy.
Who's Dixie Gillian?
He was after some microfilm. I thought I could scare him away.
You better be ready to identify him because homicide stopped. Even that scar didn't help.
What scar, Patsy?
The scar across his face, there's no record on him.
No, Patsy. Everything goes wrong. Everything you touch goes wrong. That's the wrong man, Patsy.
Yeah. Well, it's too late for a recount.
You've got to get to that body, Patsy. I don't know how, but some way you've got to get to him.
You look good, Lee. You make a nice picture.
Wait a minute, Dixie.
You don't need your coat. Come on.
I don't know how it happened, Dixie. I didn't mean it that way.
You like it that way, all right. Bring the boyfriend, too.
No, don't let him, Patsy.
The gun's too big. I'm going with him. It was a short trip. He led us out of the dressing room and down a thin hall to the back door. On the way past the kitchen, you could smell onions and used grease, and that's about all you noticed except the sound of a jukebox somewhere out in front and somebody laughing in a loud, mirthless way. When we got to the door, it was raining outside. We walked about 40 feet over near some trees where the dark was working overtime, and the gunsel made us stop.
Pick your spot, Lee.
You can't be that crazy, Dixie.
It's going to get wet, mister.
You'll have a little trouble yourself.
When I woke up, it was still raining. I was lying on top of the mud like a stubborn seed. My wallet was gone, and the gunsel had ripped open my pockets. I stood up and walked over for a last look at Lee. The rain had washed the makeup off her face, and she looked small and tired as she lay there, like a broken doll that had been tossed out in the rain. I guess she was. Well, I got to my car, and I drove back to town. I checked my place, but there was no word from Jocko, so I went up to Lee's apartment. When I opened the door, the room was dark, but I knew somebody was on the rug. Either that or they'd varnished the floor with bourbon. I flipped on the light and bent over Jocko. Hey. Wake up, Jocko. All right, Jocko. Come on, wake up. Come on.
A little ammonia, I think, would bring me around.
What happened?
I was sapped, I guess.
Everybody's got the same act tonight.
Help me up. Where have you been?
I went down to meet the girl.
Where'd you meet her? In a swimming pool?
I've been in the rain all night. She's going to stay longer. What'd you find out?
The fellow with the scar is her husband.
Yeah?
There's a picture in the desk.
Are there any more pictures?
A few. Take a look.
Where, in here?
Yes.
Well.
Who's he?
It must be Dixie Gillian. He was down to pay off a debt tonight. She called him Dixie once.
There's a note with that name and an address in the other drawer.
He's our boy. We better get up there.
Not if he's already killed 2 other people.
We can't wait for Hellman. If he gets away, I'm all through. I won't have a leg to stand on.
That's my point. When the other fellow gets through with us, we won't have much standing to do.
I felt better now. Gillian was the only guy left in the picture, so I dragged Jocko up to his place. It was an apartment up on Post Street. The elevator operator took us up to the 8th floor and said that Gillian had come in a few minutes before. There was no answer, so we tried the door, and it was open. Jocko didn't like the idea.
Patsy, this is folly. Risking my life is one of the bravest things you do.
Keep still, Jocko. What are we supposed to do? The door was open, wasn't it?
Saw a lot of graves, but I've never been tempted.
Hey, look at the furniture. There's been a fight in here. I'll look in here. You check in the bedroom, huh?
Well, if I'm not right back, don't expect me at all.
All right.
Patsy.
Yeah?
Patsy, come here.
All right.
There's somebody on the fire escape.
Come here. Stand back here.
Oh, he's not moving. He was leaning that way when I first saw him.
All right, I'll get on this side. You raise the window. Now go easy, Jocko. Can you see him from there?
Raise it a little more.
All right.
He's still leaning there. I can reach out.
All right, watch yourself. If he's kidding, you'll lose an arm.
I got it good. Raise the window more. Hey, Patsy, he's falling. Give me a hand.
Oh, here, let me through there.
Oh, it's too late. I can't hold it.
Hang on, Jocko.
He's falling. Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, he was probably dead anyway.
If he wasn't, that was a step in the right direction.
Well, it was an easy night to die. 3 of them had checked out already, and there was still time to look for more. Jocko and I went downstairs to see the guy. He was lying face down in the alley, and as you looked at him, you got the funny feeling he belonged there. He didn't disturb the scene. He just fitted in like a dirty, wet newspaper under a grandstand. There was a gun in his pocket, probably the same one that killed the girl, but there was no way of knowing. Jocko and I watched him for a minute, but your eyes begin to hurt when you see your only warm lead in a deep freeze. It was past 2 when I got down to headquarters and looked up Hellman. I briefed him on the girl and the guy in the alley, and then I asked him if any microfilm had turned up on the first guy in the morgue. That was a waste of time. Hellman couldn't find a brass ring in a dead man's nose, but we went over to the morgue for another look. So far, it was working out like a crossword puzzle torn in half.
It's your turn, Novak. I got more after tomorrow. You haven't.
The microfilm must be on the guy. 3 people have been killed for it, and I got roughed up just for laughs.
We searched the guy once. Here it is.
All right.
Help me roll it out.
Yeah. Well. He sure got thin under that sheet, didn't he?
Wait a minute.
Oh, you run a good morgue, Hellman. What'll the paper say when they hear the stiff got up and walked out?
They got him in the wrong place or something. He didn't walk out.
Well, he's gone, Hellman. You got an answer?
He's been moved, I tell you. The guy was dead, and I saw him put in here. Couldn't be walking around with a hole in the middle of his back.
I don't know, Hellman. You do it with one in your head. Don't sell the guy short. When Hellman found out the body was gone, he stood there and stared at the empty slab. And then he started looking around in a nervous way, like a man trying to find a sugar bowl at a restaurant counter. A few minutes later, he turned and walked out of the morgue, and we were halfway downtown when it happened. It must have hit us at the same time, sharp and quick, like a piece of candy in a bad tooth. The guy back in the alley had come off that slab in the morgue. We got out to Dixie's place, and we began to check. There was a phone operator downstairs, and she said that Dixie had put through a call about 2 hours ago. Hellman checked the number, and it was the ticket office of a railroad. We got downtown and ran through the timetable. There was a train leaving the Oakland Mole in about 40 minutes. Well, it was an outside chance, but tonight that was the only kind for sale. We got down in time to slide on the last ferry over to the Mole. It was still dark out when the ferry pulled away from the slip and started across the bay. But over toward the Berkeley Hills, it was beginning to get light. The sky was the color of a bruise spot on a man's arm.
We'll get up to the pallet house and tell him not to dock until we've gone through all the passengers.
He doesn't have to be on this one.
We'll check the train when we get there.
Wait a minute. You don't have to check. There's your boy.
Where?
Up there on the rail, see? Now, you better go easy, Hellman. He's not a scale model.
Yeah. Just walk quietly until we're behind him.
All right.
Turn around, mister. You'll get a better view.
Hello, Novak. How was the wind and the rain in your hair?
Meet Inspector Hellman. You better turn in your ticket.
I hope you brought your muscle.
Grab him, Hellman.
That's what I'm trying to do. All right, copper. Watch it. I'm being pitched over on the rail.
I'm worried, Hellman.
Watch it, Novak. I'm going over. Oh!
That's one down, mister. Now for you.
I landed on the deck and watched him disappear into the dark. Halfway down, the guy turned in. I got up and followed him down the ladder and along the main deck. He ducked into one of the engine spaces, and I started in to look for him. It didn't take long because he turned out to be real helpful.
You got the idea yet, Novak?
I'll come closer. Tell me then.
Do it yourself. But I'll knock you down hard when you show.
What's that platform? You're backing into trouble.
Stay back there, Novak.
Watch out for that platform, will you? You're backing into the engine.
I kind of wound up last, huh?
Yeah. That's the way it looks. Did you get the microfilm?
Yeah. I got a big hurt. Does it show?
A little.
Yeah. It's been a long night, Novak. Huh?
Yeah. But your worries are over. It's almost dawn.
I don't know if I can use it, but I'll give it to you. Fished Hellman out of an oil slick a few minutes later. It was the first time his hair ever looked good. Dixie Gillian lasted long enough to piece a story together for homicide. Lee Underwood knew her husband was carrying microfilm, and she was worried, so she hired me to scare off Gillian. Well, it might have worked, too, but the first slip came when Lee's husband went by to make a deal with Dixie without telling her. When I jumped him, Dixie was outside and figured it was a double cross, so he killed him with a silencer when that phony gun that Lee gave me went off. Dixie knew that the microfilm was still on the dead man. The only way he could be sure was to get the body out of the morgue. He took it up to his apartment, and when he got the film, he planted the gun and put the body on the fire escape. It was a little safer that way. There was a 50-50 chance the police would miss it the first time around, and he'd have a fair lead. Well, almost worked out for him, except for that phone call. The microfilm was in a capsule next to the roof of the guy's mouth. So old it was new again. Well, Hellman asked only one question. In that fight, did I have anything to do with pushing him against the rail? I told him sometimes those ferry boats roll as much as 45 degrees.
The American Broadcasting Company has just brought you the 10th of a new series, Pat Novak for Hire, starring Jack Webb. Pat Novak is produced and directed by William B. Rousseau. Jocko Madigan is played by Tudor Owen. Inspector Hellman is played by Raymond Burr. Music was composed and conducted by Basil Adlam. Be with us again next week, when over most of these same ABC stations we'll bring you Pat Novak for Hire. This program came to you transcribed from Hollywood. This is ABC, the American Broadcasting Company.